Hello, welcome back into Unite Hub. Sorry about that, we did have just a little bit of a technical glitch, but we are getting back into our second game here between Party Girls and Funa Marians. So I'm excited to see how this one is going to go. I believe we can get right back onto the Thea Sky Ruins and see how this game is going to go.
Yeah, just turning back the clock a little bit, that way we can catch all of the action for you guys as we're heading into game number 2 here. So once again, we were saying the adjustments for Funa is to kind of prioritize some of those objectives. Meanwhile, Party Girls just plays at their same tempo. If they can keep that up and keep Funa down, it should be able to help them out with their Cramorant later in the game.
Oh, we saw a lot of damage right there onto Aki. A fight over the bunny. Unfortunately, losing that out for Funa means a KO. First one for Party Girls.
Yeah, just going to be able to take out the Gibble, just prevent some of that experience going their way, but Cinder showing itself right now, just trying to possibly steal a little bit more of that objective and those experience away from Party Girls and keep this tempo up.
Keep the tempo up, fighting over the ulterior camps there. Getting a little bit of poke back and forth. Both sides kind of sending up 3 towards the top path, which does surprise me a little bit. We're talking about Funa and what we wanted to see, especially picking up this Talonflame still. Needing to get those levels right now, because only on Fleshlinder. Need to get into this position where they can be the ones dictating the pace of the game for both squads. That the Talonflame will be the do or die, live or ride by the Firebird.
Yeah, it's going to be, if they can keep the levels up and they can continue to keep the other bird down, they'll be in a good spot. So we'll be keeping an eye out on that. That's kind of like the main tracker and kind of the main barometer of how well this game is going to go. So we'll see how aggressive this well, now Talonflame is going to be.
Okay, level 7 has that ability to look for these plays, kind of keeping our eyes on the bird. It's so funny to just watch the birds. It's bird watching season here, I guess. Which I thought, isn't bird watching season usually more like a fall thing? But I guess not, because we're just getting KOs in top path.
Yeah, that looks like the pick off here, but oh my god, Talonflame dropping dangerously low. Gonna have to back up here, trying to get a couple of catch outs, but it's not gonna quite work. It looks like they might be trying to prime it again. A good hold there, but the dash through is gonna be able to get them out. So they're trying to punish the Talonflame's fly immediately after some of these rock tombs. So we'll see how it's gonna be played out heading into this first objective spawn here.
And there was another KO in the top path. It's really dicey for Funa, because we're looking at that Talonflame saying this is so important how this Talonflame is going to play. But right now for Party Girls, they got to read that and just we don't really need to play aggressively. We don't want to put ourselves in a bad position. We already got 4 in the bottom path. We're fighting over the Reggies. 3 only there for Funa, which means they can't really find a position. They're forced to send down Eldegoss to try to get in here with the fly, getting the damage, but it was secured by Sylveon. Funa got themselves a great position, but now they got to get out of there because they already had lost their Talonflame.
Yeah, losing their main source of damage, just backing out, trying to keep the HP regen coming up from the Regis and the experience. So they do flip the objectives this time, but we'll see if they can really capitalize off of it. Talonflame returning back, bird on bird, going to be able to go ahead and take out that Cramorant. So most of the damage not there, and here comes the flies. Gonna go ahead and find 2 already. Now trying to go ahead and maybe look at the Glaceon as well. You see how aggressive, how much space they're taking here. The Flame Sweep trying to push back a lot of people, but instead just gonna go ahead and create some space for the team, not really capitalizing off of it. And now Party Girls trying to answer back.
It feels like both teams overcommitting in both these plays, where initially it was a good play from Funa, getting themselves at least the Reggie. It was a little difficult because they did have the KO on their own Talonflame, but then they were able to answer back with a double KO streak. But then they chased way too far their Talonflame, used that Flame Sweep way too far away from the rest of the team, which gave enough time for Lucario to show up. And now Lucario, speaking of which, was the one in danger in this top path, could not escape from the Garchomp. As another fly connecting, but one bird is stronger than the other at the moment. Another dive takes them down. Both birds are gone. But now Slowbro Try to surf away, but it's going to be their own death that they're surfing to with another dive. Looking for Glaceon. Chase back towards their own force camps and keeping them at bay for now, allowing Funa a little bit more control.
Yeah, and I think the Stealth Rocks pickup here by the Crustle is actually an interesting play. One, it prevents the Cramorant from really being able to sit in one spot, which is going to give them a lot more space to work with. But I could also see it helping out with being an annoyance towards trying to secure some of these objectives.
Yeah, we looked at the top path, though. It was a 2v1. That was one out by Party Girls. Even though there was the dunk in the top path to get a couple extra points, it was another knockout picked up, which allows a big wave here for Party Girls to start crashing towards these points. Might be able to secure themselves a zone crash. But we have the fight on the Regice. Another Hoops Unbound throwing out the punches. Rock Tomb trying to split the fight for a bit, but these punches can get right through that. And now with 4 members here, Funa throwing in the Talonflame, going for the dive, trying to secure it, but it was secured by the Bird. The Bird's the word, and they throw it right back. The Eagle is out of there. The Eagle has not landed. Instead, it's going to be the pullback in onto the Crab, trying to get away, but nobody can escape. Party Girls are partying in the pot path.
Yeah, just really good stabilization, grabbing those bottom objectives and pushing on through. Funa really felt like they were staggered off a little bit in some of these fights where, yes, they might find a couple of objectives here and there, but they are losing out on some of these pretty important fights just by not gathering up in time.
It just feels like they're a couple seconds too late, and now they're trying to make this play again, but they weren't able to get the pick onto Hoopa, who got out of there. No KO. Instead, it was their Garchomp that got KO'd. A Flame Sweep pulls back in Cramorant, who tries to dive away back to the point and does get out of there, but the Rock Tomb will at least be the tomb that lays the dirt into the Cramorant. Now the rotations. Talonflame again dashing away, but this Lucario constantly is a menace as they kick everybody up into the air and allow Party Girls to continue the hunt on Funa.
Yeah, sure hits coming out from the Glaceon as well, and now the rest of the team, Party Girls, just continuing to score up here. But looks like the Crustle is going to be here and available. They have 4 up here. Hopefully they don't overcommit. Trying to go ahead and possibly find a Rock Tomb to hold them in place. That's going to be the play to try to slow up the Slowbro. But the rest of the team still trying to get whatever they can. Lucario just diving straight in. It looks like the Talonflame still wants more, even though they're down so much HP. But they're trying to back out, costs them their Eldegoss as well. It's a very interesting scrap heading into like 30 seconds before this final stretch.
The biggest problem, though, is the fact that Lucario is level 14. The only close ones are Garchomp or Talonflame at 12. They are struggling to deal with Lucario. And at first, I was like, oh, the Lucario pick's all right. You know, I was talking earlier, I would have liked the Gyarados. We're seeing right now what happens when you as a Lucario are ahead, how little can be done about you. You can dive into this backline consistently. You can heal up. You're effectively the damage dealer, the tank, the speedster. You're everything the team could want in one package.
And now it looks like they're going to go ahead and focus in on the Crustle. The Rumble Routes are going to get popped so that they can survive a little bit more of the hit. Glacial Stage going to be able to try to keep Party Girls up here and alive in this final engagement. Just taking place above the actual pit, and even more of the crowd control coming out. Talonflame not being able to find any of the picks here, and a lot of Funa feeling like they're in danger. The Surf going to be able to scout out the one, and now with the numbers advantage going their way, Party Girls looking to go ahead and punch their tickets into our semifinals.
Yeah, I was about to say, Party Girls, you do not have to go for the straight quads. You can just delay the game. You don't want to throw it over this dragon at all. Let the Sky Dragon survive. Don't go for the knockout. Make sure that you have Funa constantly in control, that they have to play into your hands because you still maintain this lead. Going 1 minute in, they'll pull back in. The eject button didn't get away for Slowbro, but they did get the knockout onto Talonflame. And then they got Lucario being a menace in the back line. Everyone, eject buttons away from them. More punches from the Unbound Hoopa as they continue their hunt, their warpath. Party Girls, they are the ones who are creating the party here in the central path. And again, getting these knockouts. It is going to be an ace. Everybody out of there for Funa. More dunks, more points, and this game is to be cured by Party Girls.
Yeah, it's just really well played overall. Just finding a couple picks, once again, we were talking about the experience heading into the pit. Just they didn't really need to worry about too much. They didn't need to contest Ray. They forced Funa to make the plays themselves and really took advantage of them being out of position.
They did a great job with it, honestly. It was a really good look from Party Girls and how they kind of saw what the game plan for Funa was, which was trying to get these early leads, try to get these early fights to work for them, and they never got them for Funa. Party Girls maintained themselves in a great position. Ilala was, like, honestly incredible on that Lucario. Just looked really good in the top path. Anytime they joined in any of these skirmishes, was able to stay on top of the backline of Funa and make it so that there really wasn't much you could do, because once Talonflame goes in, once you have even Garchomp going, who's defending the Sylveon?
Exactly. And I also think that it came down to how well they controlled tempo and top. Being able to get a couple of those early knockouts on the Garchomp early, or the Gible really, really early, just allowed the space for Lucario to do whatever they kind of wanted. So I really do think that helped them out in the long run. It's just really tough to snowball back against something that has so many levels above you. And especially with that level of mobility, it's just really dangerous to play into it.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm even looking at how Cramorant continues to play, and it keeps making me happy. Keeps making me happy to see how good Cramorant is doing right now in the current meta. But we are going to toss to a break so we can get ready for our semifinals, so make sure you do not go anywhere, because we will be right back. Hello, hello. Welcome into the Unite Battle Hub. We are here for some more action for our EU qualifiers. I'm Mad Magical, joined in by Bacon, and that last game that we just got to see was quite fun, at least for me as a Cramorant main. You know, anytime I get to see Cramorant win, I'm always having a good day. How about you, Bacon?
I'm doing good as well. And like you said, Cramorant at the very start is kind of coming back to, I don't want to say high meta just yet, but an incredibly valid pick, you know, like a lot, like can fit into a lot of teams. I love that kind of dive to it in a very similar sense to how we're seeing Lucario now come back into a fold as a very well-rounded Pokemon, and that sort of dive, get into the backlines and then come out to safety. The mobility is such a strong sort of factor for a lot of these Pokemon at the moment, isn't it?
It really is, and I think that's kind of what the game plan is. Either you can get into the back of a fight really quickly, do your damage, and get out, or you can get into the back of the fight, do your damage really quickly, and then survive because you just can heal forever. It's one of two stages. If you don't do either of those, you're not having a good time. That's just how it seems to be right now. And it's funny because we do see like certain Pokemon like Sylveon, we even see Gardevoir still in the meta every once in a while. But I feel like they still struggle in some ways unless the team's really been developed around them. We even got to see something fun in that last game with Talonflame, where they kind of had this identity, but it was completely thwarted by what Party Girls wanted to do, which was just delay the game, allow the game to get towards that 5-minute mark, and be like, all right, now we've got the levels, now we can fight.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, because if you think about Pokemon, like the anniversary last year, because we're just very quickly coming up onto that, we were in a meta of the special attackers, you know, sort of like that long range throwing out tons of attack. Now we're in the middle of a brawl comp. Like, it kind of feels weird that the only thing that the most brawl comp Pokemon to me right now, Urshifu, isn't actually that meta, which is really odd. But you know what I mean? Like, Buzzwole is still pretty good. I know it's not as good as what you used to see, but it's still incredibly valid because of the CC is so strong. And that's mainly it. It's the CC moving around the opposition, stunning them, stopping them from being able to deal their attacks, which is so strong in this current meta. And that is after, you know, we saw buffs a while back. It's kind of been a long stacking up thing with what the changes to Muscle Band, a lot of how these cooldowns are applied with the recent changes to global cooldowns, plus what we see in Pokemon being able to do. That's why you're seeing, whilst maybe not an all-rounder, but defenders like Trevenant with Woodhammer and such, you know, which can put you out of action for what feels like eternity when realistically it's only 0.4, 0.5 seconds, right? We're just in such a high CC meta that all-rounders are so strong.
And speaking of all-rounders, Blaziken, that's kind of why I was oohing and ahhing while you were talking, because Blaziken did make their way through the Flame Chicken. Going to be on the Sky Runes this time around, but Slowbro also was able to get off of the bench and is going to be enabled for this game. So not too surprised that it's going to be the handshake of going for Blaziken to Slowbro, Eldegoss as well, since Hoopa was taken away as a supporter. And Eldegoss, I feel like, kind of falls into that strong meta right now. A lot of people have been going for Comfey, I know. And I know it's also not my favorite to see Comfey personally. I prefer things more like this Eldegoss, like the Hoopa. I would even prefer something as crazy as even going for Clefairy. But Blissey fits, I think, a better role in the supporters that are currently in the meta.
Well, Blissey is just such a well-rounded Pokemon. It can't go wrong. Eldegoss is mainly because then you're not going to be CC'd. You're a little bit further away, still being able to reliably put down those heals. On top of that, Eldegoss does damage. Metagross right now is in such a great position as all-rounder. We're seeing the Cramorant once again. That is such a well-rounded team. It's almost a rainbow for Belina over there. But on this Wit team side, we just have to see how they'll finish it off. They've left their support for last, and we know Leognus does like Sableye. They are a bit of a gremlin. Do it.
Do it. Do it. Give me the Sableye. Give me the Sableye.
There it is.
Yes! It's the Sableye. Let's go. With the Chandelure as well. Oh, wow. Very interesting compositions for both teams. It really feels like both teams are kind of indexing towards that like level 7 early skirmish kind of, like not super early skirmish, but like level 7 Unite move skirmish compositions.
Well, you look towards that Wit team, sure, they don't have a healer, but they've got a lot of sustain. You think a very, very bulky and tanky evolution in the Sylveon, Mystical Fire, I'm expecting more from that. Crustle, defenders as defenders do. Crustle is very tanky. And then both Chandelure and Blaziken have a little bit of like vampirism to themselves where they can, via their moves, heal themselves back up. And, well, we all know the little gremlin, what he can do. You're expecting him to sort of go in those back lines and then, whilst running away, be able to recover. So this is a team that's not necessarily going to be very heal heavy and need that supporter, but they have got to call out their fights. If they try and leave a fight to drag on a little bit too long, that is where they will crumble. I
mean, Sableye is one of these fun Pokemon to watch. I know it's something kind of like a terror when it comes to solo queue, because you always will have that Sableye who never joins the team, never does anything, just going for the back caps, just feel like, I'm going to get the points. But it kind of, I mean, yes, it will function in a very similar way still in competitive, but it still has great tools to help out with the team. And then you always have that, like, plan B. Like, all right, things ain't going so well. All right, time to back cap. Time to avoid the team. Just delay the fights. Don't actually fight. Just delay it so I can get all these points for us.
Well, it's also the fact that, like, we don't know what build this Sableye is going to be run, because even if we put something like Feint in there, right, then you can kind of scour lower grass. I love Sableyes at the very start being able to go forward and yoink away that red buff, which they might still be able to do. No, just get into the pie a little bit late. And, yeah, Leognus is going to just have to get out of there. But notice again, this Belina Summer team really, really respecting the opposition, sending both into the Sanctuary that early purely to halt what they were expecting from the opposition.
I think it's a really good call from Belina right there, just saying, all right, we are expecting the Sableye invade, which you really should always expect. And so the fact that you're able to secure that red buff before the Sableye was even able to get there, so Leo kind of shows up and is like, wait a minute, there's nothing for me to get. They immediately turn, get the knockout onto Sableye, deny that early game identity that Sableye would normally want to have. These are good things, but for Wit team, there are, that's the thing that's always kind of annoying of Sableye, is there's always these little ways to get back into the game, and especially we look towards the top path. There are some great ways to attack, but bot lane's actually going to be the one that they really get onto the crab and get into the knockout for the Fletchlander.
Yeah, they've got to be careful here as well. Of course, Fletchlander still in that Sanctuary, was able to get both buffs, able to really stack them up strong. But if you look towards it, for me, it's this slow bro right now is a big, powerful asset. Sure, the Cramran will fall, but Cramran's still a little bit too fragile at level 5, but they are level 5 nonetheless. That is a big win for the bottom path for Wit team, but on this top path, notice just how calm and collected Belina feel.
They're going to feel great. Especially when you have a Metagross and you're only on the Metang. You're hoping that you can survive these earlier stages, because Beldum really is susceptible, something that usually is where you see a lot of the attack put for teams, try to make sure that you can't get to the Metang stage. And the fact that you're now there, you'll feel a little bit more confident. You feel a little bit stronger, and that's why you even see that the Flame Chicken is having a struggle time in the top path, while the bot path is going really awry for the side of Belina.
T-Ups is already level 7. You gotta be careful. They're near enough, and 3/4, mind you. So they could be level 8 anytime soon. And then, well, you just get that Unite move online, and suddenly Reggie's gonna be crying. That's only 30 seconds away. This is a big attack. Fly from the Talonflame, though. That's a big, big boost to Belina Summer team.
Especially because, as you were talking about, we're about to get the Regis on to the Sky Ruins. So you can have both teams start to position posture around it. But now, with the fight around the Cloud Chickens, I should say, not Cloud Dragons, Cloud Chickens, you had almost this point where I thought there was going to be the full fight, but it's actually the top path where it continues to be that one chicken is struggling, and it's the Flame Chicken.
They're close to breaking it. Can they just get rid of Sableye, who on their own is kind of keeping the opposition at bay? It's a Reggie Rock. This would be a lot more valuable realistically towards that right-hand side. When you look at Metang, you look at Slowbro, would absolutely love the buffs from Reggie Rock, but it's the global XP, which both teams will be firing over. Tsar's got to be careful, as it is the Elder Glock that's going to be taking them on down. Close to this, and no, Chandelure's able to snatch it away.
Get more eject buttons away. The follow-ups, they're not done. Sylveon wanted to get those knockouts with the draining kits, but it was not enough damage. But the fact that they were able to get the Reggie, you look towards the top path, that was a 40 dunk that you had right there. 40 points secured in the top path by Pixel, and the Regieleki already going to be started up. They could probably burst that down before there's actually going to be this fight breaking out in the central path, getting on top of Chandelure and getting the knockout for Talonflame.
And knows now Belina, just one after the other, trying to just hunt after Wit team, whereas the Blaziken themselves are taking down the Regieleki, sending it on its way. That means Belina has to back off a little bit, focus, make sure the Regieleki doesn't hit their goal. They're going to be a little bit separated, but this is great damage control. Finally got one. Blaziken has found the Elder Glock as well, and they've got to be careful. Wit team always on this bounce back.
The bounce back and the fact that we're looking back towards this Blaziken that had a couple of unfortunate knockouts there against Metagross has now bounced back and is now 2 levels, well, a level and a half essentially, above this Metagross in a position that really seemed like it was never going to be fortuitous.
Oh, using Fly to get out of dodge. Talonflame, very, very squishy, but great mobility from that moveset. Trying to catch the Slowbro in its fray, but look at this from Leognis, going right around, trying to get that flank in, but just cannot find the path, cannot find the space. They don't want to get caught this early.
Leo wants it so bad, wants to be able to get the Chaos Glower the best he can onto as many people, but just cannot find that position just yet, but doesn't need it necessarily. Can just wait it out, and you look at another back cap being attempted, just kind of getting the attention and keeping this Metagross pinned back towards it, while the rest of the team is getting attacked in the bottom path. They might have 4 members here. The Fly looking to chase down on Sylveon, but only getting a little bit of damage with the Surf in, and then the chase back, the knock back, Rock Tomb. Another Fly gets onto Chandelure. Flame doing a lot there with the Talonflame, but they get the lockdown, and it's going to be the fight between the defenders. Rock Tomb locking in Slowbro, nowhere to go but get knocked down.
And now the bottom goal will just crush underneath him as well. It's not a bad 25 overcap. Swablu are here as well for a little bit of extra XP, but it's the Regice, that global XP, helping out the rest of the team. Sableye on that tier 2 goal on the top path, just distracting 2 members of Belina's summer team. But can they steal this away?
Oh, no!
Once again, it is the Chandelure to secure.
Secures another Reggie for the team, and we even see the other Reggie secured by Pixel. Unfortunately, Slowbro, you're 3 levels below that Blaziken. There's no way you can fight.
Reggie, Lucky going on its way, and now we're starting to get to this awkward moment. 1.5 minutes left till Ray. This is where you really need to focus on your farm. Don't let your opponents try and take control. There should also be another bottom Reggie in it. So now as we just get closer to these final levels, do you risk taking a team fight? If you do, it's got to be a whole squad focusing on 1, maybe 2 targets like they're trying to pull apart here. This Blaziken, if they can grab, would be a brilliant addition to their portfolio before the Reggie fight.
Yeah, but there's going to be the full-on fight. They dove on top of Slowbro, and with Talonflame back in the air, going for the fly. So low, there's a simple knockout. 1 hit from Sylveon. They get 2, actually. Make it 3 as everyone collapses in the fight.
With a flame sweep as well. It looked so good for Belina's summer team, but instead they weren't able to stack up CC upon CC, and so Wit team were able to get out of dodge, Ritter recover, but at the same time, no, so that Sylveon putting out so much damage is wild at the moment.
And we got 30 seconds left until Rayquaza. Some back caps there, getting these points secured before we have to worry about that. Though there is the knockout, a little bit of an overextension there from Blaziken and Sableye, getting caught out in a double KO right when you need it most for Belina.
They do have the respawn timers perfectly lined up for them. They will get back in the fight for Ray. What did Belina do here? They need to take the Ray. They can't get enough points in right now to be able to get a lead before that fight. But removing that top goal, are they pivoting themselves to be able to then sweep underneath? Just go for that bottom path and get tiers 1 and 2 off the back of those green shields.
I think that's the goal. That has to be the goal. That's why they held on to some of those big points right there, to make sure they can get as much as humanly possible from these, because now you're in this position. It is do or die. You're down 200 points, 2 minutes left into the game, and they are all waiting for these Unite moves so they can start positioning themselves properly around Rayquaza.
Now, the question for Sableye, do you back cap at this point, try and get yourself a little bit of a comfy lead, or do you wait in the wings with Chaos Glower? Do you then try and just get as many and send them back to base as possible? A few scattered fights here, Metagross, but no Sylveon using their Unite move to get out of dodge. Now focusing on to the Eldegoss. That is one down. That's a massive pick for Wit Team.
But look at the Sylveon locked in the pit, trying to get away. They've got the taunts they need to from Crustle, the knockbacks as well. Talonflame can't do anything, and they've got the plays. This is looking like Wit Teams. It's a flame sweep, sweeping back nobody, not enough. But the Cramorant starting to sweep through, double knockout, diving forward, looking for more. Leo's the target, but a Rock Tomb, but the help from the knockout Sableye. But they're all back up. We have Belina. They're back onto Rayquaza. This ain't over just yet.
But look at Sableye. Still, they don't have the Unite move. They've already burned through it. They're trying to look for this little steal at the final moments. Crustle could do it as well. They gotta be careful. Chandelure is in the mix, able to throw out a flamethrower, but they've just fallen down, and it's gonna be the Eldegoss. After respawning back in, throwing it into the central area, they steal the Ray, and that should be enough for them. But notice Blaziken already in position with the CC of their Blaze Click as well. Can push back Talonflame with an 82 on that second tier. It can still be scored upon, but you've got to run it towards the goal. Slowbro, sorry. Maybe falling their name. Too slow to get into the fray. Eldegoss does score 44. That should put them ahead.
That should put them ahead. 3 seconds. We got enough time. I think that's it. I think Belina just secured a comeback win.
Slowbro on that top path, I thought had just thrown it, taking too long to go to that tier 2 goal to score. But it was a beautiful distraction, not allowing the Blaziken, who would have been brilliant on that bottom path, to throw back the opposition. It came right down to the Ray, because, to be fair, Wit Team just always seemed, even though they lost a fight or two, they got the objectives. They were continuously pushing against Belina's Summer Team, but Belina, credit where it's due, holding in till the last moment.
It's just that one final fight, and that's sometimes all it takes here in Pokemon Unite, right? You just get one good fight around Rayquaza, and honestly, for both teams, it was still very close. When you are that within 200 points down at 2 minutes, that seems like a large lead, but really it's not, because all you need is one good Rayquaza, or even just a good dunk, and suddenly you've already completely mitigated that lead.
I will say, Sableye still was not the pick. Leogna's still great in there. But like you said earlier, a Comfey would have probably been a little bit nicer, allowing the Blaziken to go a bit deeper, providing these heals. Actually, Comfeys on the Sylveons go kind of hard. Like, it's kind of something that's slept on a little bit. But also, in the mix there, like you said, Blissey have been absolutely fine in the fray. Who knows, maybe even a wild Mr. Mime just to throw up the barriers, to throw up your walls. Yeah, but that's also the cool part of this meta, is that kind of anything is possible right now as long as you're good on it. I don't think Leogna's got the value that they were looking for from the Sableye, but they were still putting in a lot of nuisance work. We saw so often that they pulled off 2 Pokemon, like on that second tier goal, which then meant the rest of the team were quite comfy to fight 3-on-3, 4-on-3, and that's valuable information for them.
I think a big problem that I kind of have when it comes to how Wit Team's composition really did crumble was the fact that they are a composition that does really well when they first get those Unite moves, and we saw the power that they had once they got to the 7s, the 8s, even to towards like 9 and 10. But if you're not absolutely trouncing at that point, if you don't have really decisive fights at that point, yeah, your Chandelure maybe can get you towards that end game, but you're still dealing with things that are really good in the late game themselves. I was talking before about Cramorant, and we saw in that last fight, the one right at the Rayquaza, where that kind of spilled over into the bottom path, that the Cramorant was untouched. That they were able to get the Gatling Bolt missile and do a lot of work. They kind of just ripped up the fight and made it so that Belina were able to pick up these wins, where it's like kind of like an unsung hero throughout the fight, because you look at the points, you're like, the Cramorant was useless, but pretty much most of it. It was all everyone else. But it just takes that one fight in these late games sometimes for these attackers to really take over the game.
Yeah, and Cramorant, like, even though you say that, I feel like Cramorant just got damage out is more the secures, which was an issue. We did see Cramorant actually, though, in that final fight, get 2 picks. They dropped afterwards, but they still got 2 picks, right? So that's still 2 for 1. Great little trade there. It's going to be going into the second game where, what have you learned what do you need to change up, you know? Because if I'm looking towards Belina's summer team, whilst they did get the win there, I'm still not too happy with this squad. I feel like maybe a Zorak could be the play. You need something that can be really threatening, running into your opponent's line. Even maybe a Do Trio, that's a bold ask, over the Talonflame. Because Talonflame, whilst, you know, serves that same role, is a little too squishy, and for me, those flies were a little too obvious. Notice how many times they had to pull back where they couldn't commit to the fly fully just because they had been caught and their opponents had then spread out.
All right, something that I actually advocate a lot for is actually Mimikyu over some of the speedsters.
Okay.
Because I feel like Mimikyu offers a very similar role where it's something that can get onto these backlines, kind of disrupt like a Sylveon play, plus the lockdown that you get with Play With Me. I feel like Mimikyu is one of these picks that a lot of people like to overlook, but into things that tend to either be highly mobile or a little bit too immobile, that it's weird because Mimikyu does well into like the two dichotomies, the two extremes, and does a good job of kind of keeping them locked down so the rest of the team can collapse afterwards.
Hooper ban
Again.
straight away. Yeah. Belina, I don't know what they're cooking, but normally you don't, like, Hooper's a weird one. If you're scared of what your opponent can play, and, you know, I'm looking over towards Leognis there, yeah, I can understand wanting to ban Hooper, but the slow bro after last game?
Dravenet's up. I think if you're Belina, you lock that in right now.
Yep.
Just get it immediately. It doesn't matter if there's things like Sylveon that are up. You just get that. We've talked about it before. Slowbro was the other defender that's really high priority. Eldegoss is a pretty high priority supporter, but Dravenet is just too much lockdown, too much that can add to the team.
Yeah, for me, if I'm Qatar here, Leognis, yeah, go for the Eldegoss. If you're Qatar, for me, it's Umbreon or Sylveon. Have to be your first picks here. And it's actually going to be both. They're allowing the support to be left on the table. Sylveon is just a good foundational Pokemon that can fit into any team at the moment. And Mean Look, even Foul Play, is such great CC from Umbreon.
But we get my bird back on the Sky Ruins. We'll constantly get Cramorant played, I think, right now, like, is the flavor of the month for the current meta. But, oh, that hover. No, go back. Leo, no, go back. Yeah. This is what we're talking about. I like this. The Blissey, I think, does fit really well with the team. Also disrupts a lot of what Belina wants to do. I think even a Blastoise kind of has a similar identity. Ooh, Snorlax, I don't mind. But that Mimikyu I was talking about.
So Snorlax here, I'm liking it. We've got a big bulky team. I'm thinking they might just put heals alone, just leave it Wish on Umbreon. You know, they don't really need it for the rest of the squad. Lena now is in this weird position. They cannot go for any squishier targets. They're going to go all rounders. Metagross makes perfect sense, but Aegis Slash?
Aegis Slash.
Oh, that is spicy. They are going full brawl here.
Yeah, they're just going full brawl, hoping to get through a lot of the resistances and shields that are going to be there for the side of Wit Team. The Aegis Slash is one of those picks you just don't see too often, and I kind of like it here. I'm vibing with it into this composition, like we were talking about, like with the defenders you have, both the Umbreon, you have the Snorlax. I talked about how I like myself a Mimikyu because you're something that can get into the backline. Well, Aegis Slash is like, okay, go for it. You have fun with that. We're all diving onto your backline anyways. We're looking for Chandelure. We're looking for Sylveon. Even the Cramorant's going to be with me. We're all looking. The only one who's not going to be with us is Eldegoss.
Well, and again, when you look at Chandelure, that's a special attacking Pokemon, right? That's why you're bringing it out. When you look over towards the opposite end, that's a lot of physical defenses, but special defense can be a little bit lackluster, and that's why they're trying to pick that out. Sylveon, alongside both Mimikyu and Chandelure, can rip through them. This is now just coming down to what can your tanks, what can your defenders do here? Snorlax, it's got to be a wall Snorlax for me, just near enough to physically push things around. Could also be a Yawn, don't get me wrong, but I'm thinking it's going to be a block. Snorlax here, it feels like it needs to be that. And then Umbreon, I'm feeling it's just full CC. That's going to be Mean Look paired with Wish. And that Wish, if they don't get the right targets, you know, when you're just hovering over with your right thumbstick, if they pick the wrong Pokemon, that could be enough to throw a whole team fight. Well, that's a lot of weight on those shoulders.
And that's what I was kind of talking about. Like, everyone's going to be diving here on Belina. Everyone is going to be looking for the backline, except for Eldegoss. So it's like, it's going to be even more imperative to land these wishes to make sure that you're hitting the right targets, because you miss one of them, they're all going to be grouped up together. It's going to be hard sometimes to click on them.
It's been so long, my friend. Welcome back to the party. But you're talking about the Eldegoss. Cramran, both of them are targets #1 from Mimikyu. They have literally got crosshairs on their backs right now.
That's something as both a Mimikyu and a Cramran player, I know fear when I see there's a Mimikyu on the other side. Or if I'm playing Mimikyu, I see Cramran and I'm like, I got an easy game today, don't I?
Easy farm as well for the Snorlax. Steals the blue buff and then just waves whilst they walk away. Cool guys don't look at explosions, and well, we know Snorlax is pretty darn cool.
Yes. Yeah. Does take a lot of naps though. Okay. By the way, what are you in the camp of? What is Snorlax animal-wise?
Animal-wise, like a big bear?
See, some people think bear, and some people think giant fat cat.
I can see the cat, but no, it's a bear. Come on.
Oh, right now, looking a little bit more like a cat there because he's taking a nap.
Don't worry, he's got 9 lives, though, so he'll come back and with 8 to spare.
Yeah, so we'll see. See if he's got enough at least for this game, because a lot of points can capitalize by Wit Team from that play, even if it was completely opposite for them in that bot path. The fact they had 3 in the top path and now are invading, looking to not only steal the blue, but the red, I mean, but also get the knockout there and then continue this rotation around.
Oh, but they're not going to be able to catch the double aid. Just a little bit too far, but there you go. Mean look confirmed. Crashing on down to the Cramran. They even had a little Snorlax once again invading. So right now you can see Wit Team's plan is fully take away the farm. Be really, really impressive.
And Wit Team are just going to take everything. They're going to get out of here. It looks like do get kind of chased down a little bit, take a lot of harass there. Oh, no, actually. It's going to mean that Leo might get knocked out here by the bird. Oh, wow. It healed, delaying the inevitable. It's all just delaying, right? But this is perfect by Leo.
It's distraction as well, right? Because this is two Pokemon that's not really getting farmed. Look, it's still Gossiflor. And like you said, on the top path, where this Matang was actually a little bit of a worry because it was being left unchecked, is now got the Mimikyu there just pushing up against it. We do have the Aegislash online, but that does mean that both the Cramran, which is now level 7 Sure, and the Eldegoss, which is now Eldegoss, because of the catch-up XP, are online. But the Eldegoss and Trevenant, level 5 each, is a little bit lacking right now.
And you need to get your Trevenant up a little bit more, especially when we are looking towards these fights where Unite moves will be up. We have the Regis now on the Sky Ruins. We even already have Wit Team on this Regice in the bot path, already getting a lot of damage onto it, with not even so much of a hint until just now for Belina that had been started. So if you're maybe level 7 there out of Trevenant, maybe could have at least put a bit more of a fight into it, but instead had to get out of there, and now hoping to survive.
But Belina went for the call just to go for the Regieleki. So quickly broke that top tier 1 goal, sent the Regieleki on its way. Can they catch out Leo here? Yes, they can. Between them, they stop them from scoring, and that gives them a little bit of a boost. Mimikyu is now preoccupied by the Regieleki, so Belina will look to battle back. They saw what Wit Team did at the start and went, you know what, we'll take all the farm ourselves now. It's our turn.
Yeah, I feel like Leo still thinks they're playing Sableye. I think that's the problem. They're still in the last game, hoping they're playing Sableye. But picking a fight right now. Into the force we go, but it's going to be Aegislash for the first knockout. Then the Fairy Celeste trying to get a little bit as everybody's getting popped there. We have trades back and forth, low health bars, but Metagross ain't done. Even with a mean look, was able to get the double knockout on the other side. And all the while, Pixel picked up the kill to get off the knockout that they needed to in this bot path.
We talked about earlier priority targets for Pixel, and Pixel found both of them, even a little Trevenant to boot, but I don't think you're going to be able to chop down this tree. Sure, you've got a Snorlax and a Chandelure to help you out, but maybe just hold back, wait in the grass. There will be chances again in the future to be able to pounce on the opposition. Instead, they go back to base, start pouncing on the farm, and well, this Trevenant might have just bit off a little bit more than they could chew.
I kind of like that combo. We were talking about the yawn, whether it was going to be yawn or is it going to be the wall for Snorlax, but I like that with the mean look. As you can see, the knockup that they can have, the Wombo combo that locks them down, gets them these knockouts, but they extend a little bit too far, and now they're the ones getting chased away from potential point scores that they could have gotten in this spot path.
It's also buying them time to get out of dodge with the yawn, right? Then they could just walk it away. At the same time, they can also stop moves from the opposition. There's the power nap. Is the rest of the squad trying to pounce on the rest of the team? They've got to be careful. Look, this is so spread out.
I kind of like that, though. It allowed them to get onto the Registeel. It was secured. No, it was secured by the side of Belina, and now they are the ones diving, forcing out these Unite moves. They are not done. They get the KO into Chandelure. As Aegislash is just chasing everybody and looking for more. That's going to be a triple KO for Aegislash.
3 knockouts. Aegislash is eating good right now. Wit team have to now pivot. They've got to rush towards that Regieleki, and Belina was sort of predicting that we'll be taking all the farm on the way up there, but instead, no, Wit team, they're going up the center. They're trying to catch maybe a little bit of a flank. Don't know, but no one's going for this Regieleki. Instead, it is still focusing fully on that farm. Even though we've got Unite moves for days, and they're just trying to figure each other out. It's mind games. They're getting into each other's heads.
Yeah, a little bit afraid, maybe, especially with the mean look getting that lockdown and knockout for Chandelure in the spot path. And they should be able to at least get something on the spot path. They got the Gatling Gulp, but they ate a lot of the damage. And Sacred Sword diving them back, getting a lot for the team, but they can continue to keep these sweeps. Even if you have a Sacred Sword, get one knockout, 1v3, have to heal up. Mean look again, the bounce around. We go into the top path. It's a knockout on a Mimikyu right at the Regieleki, but bot path is really where it's at because Aegislash never got knocked out.
Aegislash jumping from one target to another has been everything in this game. Just hats off to them. Wit team will be able to pick up the Regieleki in the final moments just there. They stop the Metagross, but nonetheless, they have got to be quaking in their boots because 50 seconds until the Rayquaza turns up.
Yeah, and that is going to be where it all boils down to for both teams. And I'm still looking at Dr. Gallo and this Aegislash, because that Aegislash, I think, has now become the win condition for both teams. If Wit team cannot do anything about Aegislash in these coming fights, then there is going to be everything that Belina can play around.
For me, with Aegislash, it's the King's Shield. Just get a little bit of a defensive moment, a little bit of a breather, then jump to the next target. That is a nice pickup on the Regirock, of course. We said about how bulky Wit team is, so Regirock right now is kind of perfect for their chances going into Ray.
That will help them out a lot. Honestly, I think that also is a big play for the side of Wit team. That goes over to Belina. It makes this fight around Rayquaza even more difficult, but now we are within 20 points, and I don't think either team want to pull the trigger on Rayquaza.
Belina don't necessarily have big secure moves that they want to use as well. Instead, they're looking more at their opposition and wanting to remove their numbers. Sure, you've got the likes of coup de grace, but you don't want to be throwing that onto the Ray. No. You want to be ideally looking up the Mimikyu, looking up the Chandelure with that, and just wiping them away in a one-shot.
I'm looking at that Mimikyu too, the target with Play With Me. They get the back line, they get everyone trying to eject button out of there, but it's actually going to be the point secured. That's a big turnaround for Wit team. They got a huge dunk, all the while Rayquaza still hasn't been started off. It's going to be the dash into the back line with a mean look on top of Aegislash, and now they're turning their attention. This Mimikyu might have just won the game for Wit team as they dive into the Rayquaza pit, getting it low. The knockouts are there. Wit team have turned this around all off the back of Pixel and every knockout they could possibly hope for, while the rest of Belina have nothing left in the tank. It's all run out, and it's all Wit team to get us to game 3.
If you're going to backcap, you want it to be a Pokemon like Mimikyu, of course, with a Shadow Sneak dashing through the grass, gets so much distance to get back into the fray as quick as possible, picking numbers the rest of the squad knew. Belina, as soon as they saw the Mimikyu get the cap, their heads kind of went, okay, do we just jump on Ray right now? No, we've got 2 in a fight. They got disorganized, they got confused, and Wit team punished that perfectly.
It was really good to see, and it's so funny to see that it's not the Sableye player in Leo doing the back cap this time around. It was Pixel making the play for the team, and even if Teeps was the one who got the crown in that one, I got to give the crown out to Pixel, because that was a great decision for Wit team to get the back cap, to then turn their attention into the fight, and they pretty much just pinched them in this maneuver where they outflanked them, and there was really nothing Belina, a summer team, could do to stop them.
We are going to be going to game 3, folks. You know what? It's only round 2. It's only the quarterfinals, but yet the competition is that fierce, and that is EU for you with tons of depth. We will be going to a break very, very shortly, but I've got to be asking you folks at home, you know, who do you think is going to come out on top? Do you think Wit Team are going to be able to pull on through? We do know that they are the stronger, the higher seed of the two, but like I said, with EU, it's going to be always wild with what these new teams can figure out. We'll see you on the opposite side of the break, folks. See you in a couple of minutes.
Hello, hello. Welcome back into Unite Battle Hub. We have an exciting series on our hands here. Wit Team versus Belina Summer Team. We have a 1-to-1 series in our best of 3. One team moves on. One team will be eliminated from our EU qualifiers. I'm Mad Magical, joined in by Bacon, and gotta say, we've had some exciting games today, but especially this series between Wit Team and Belina. That last game especially, that back cap from Pixel winning the game, because then it felt like Belina found themselves in this weird catch-22. No matter what they did, it was the wrong decision.
But like we said, you're in the prime time right now for teams to come up with new ideas. There's not the stress of UCS anymore. Don't get me wrong, he's got some players here that will be at Worlds, but mainly you're just seeing new squads that are not only playing for fun, but playing with new ideas. They're playing sort of like reinvigorated with new squads, but then also new players rise into the fold. So it's a lot of, like we said, new ideas that some might be, you know, based upon, we said it's a heavy brawler meta, so of course you're going to see a lot of brawl comps going on right now of these all-rounders, but the way we saw, say, that Aegis Slash play in that last game kind of felt, dare I say, inspired. Sure, that's just what Aegis Slash does, but it's the gusto, the knowing mechanically what your Pokemon can do to commit to really long fights, to get those free KOs without throwing yourself away. That's what we love to see.
But the thing is, and speaking of like kind of throwing yourself into a lot of those fights, the Mimikyu for Pixel, like we talked about the back cap being so important, but even before then, there's I think the triple KO that they got with the resets from Shadow Sneak that looked really good too, that allow you to kind of move around a lot of these fights as, this is interesting adaptation that we are seeing now. Garchomp actually getting banned here by Wit Team. The failings we're expecting, but we've been kind of highlighting how it's really become this bruiser meta, and taking something out that wants to dive into the backline like Garchomp so early kind of leaves open things like the Slowbro, the Trevenant, Blaziken. We see all these kind of things that now you only have one option left for yourself if you're Belina and they decide to take away Blaziken.
Okay, so 2 big mobility Pokemon removed there. Hooper, it just feels, that's a targeted ban, right? On the Arcanus. Understandable, right? But Qatar here, what are they going to do? Oh, no, that instant swap. Sylveon, we've seen, has been the core to every team so far today and is just so massively powerful with both Mystical Fire and Hyper Voice there. I'm not too surprised by that. On the opposite end here, you got to pick Trevenant, and then it's just getting the supporter pick of choice, whilst not necessarily locking down your team to one specific direction.
Yeah, so Trevenant going to be taking Eldegoss. I'm imagining Umbreon is there, and we have seen Umbreon kind of been really important so far for Wit Team. But Slowbro is the defender everyone always talks about as being like right there, up there with Trevenant. But they don't opt for that. They opt instead for the bird and for Umbreon.
Really? I get it from what we've seen before, because this is kind of very similarly mimicking that last play, but not with the Cramorant. The Cramorant is just high damage at the moment, so I feel they still need a supporter in the mix there. They can't just send this bird without any backup.
I mean, we saw the Snorlax in the last game by Wit Team. I'm kind of looking at Mr. Mime as something that's really good, especially denying any of these dives into the backline. Make it so that you can separate the fights a lot easier, not just for the Cramorant, but also for Sylveon. And I think that the Snorlax is cool. It's got a similar idea, especially because you can have the crash down, you can build the wall, you can go for Yawn, either or. But Cerule Edge, we actually get to see Cerule Edge today. I was curious to see whether EU was going to adapt towards that or not.
Well, again, it's a new Pokemon, so there's a lot of question marks. Cerule Edge as well doesn't feel that incredibly powerful. But who knows?
It's not like a Phalanx kind of release, but like,
yeah,
it's still good. I've played a couple games of Cerule Edge, and depending on how you want to go about your build, like Bitterblade is one of those ones that's really telegraphed, but you get really good healing with it. But you're oftentimes going to see more going for just the regular slashes to try to get the armor shred, to get the defense shred, so that it makes it even easier for Pokemon like Cramorant to start doing a lot more damage.
We'll have to see as well, because it is still so fresh that we haven't really seen it in tournament play. So whilst, like, I enjoy it in my, standard rank games, it's going to be interesting to see how it pivots over. I like the reintroduction of Venusaur at the end, though. I absolutely love what Solar Beam, because I do, with that build, definitely expect it to be Solar Beam in the mix. Who knows actually with Spoon it could be, but both ways, like, again, Venusaur allows a lot of just good capabilities. Whether you are playing Brawly at the moment, stand in the middle, sort of be a pseudo tank, but you're doing damage to everyone. Or Solar Beam being able to not only have great secure on those objectives, but then also over multiple targets. If you aim correctly, you can get 2 free hits. That's so much damage being applied there.
Yeah, the only thing with Venusaur is, like, we have seen it a couple times in this current meta struggle, especially because some of the nerfs that did happen recently that have kind of knocked him down a couple pegs from being one of those top-tier attackers. So I am a little worried that when I look at this composition that has been drafted by Belina, it really is heavily indexing towards scaling into this game. Chandelure, Metagross, Venusaur, all of them need to get these evolutions really quickly. While you look at 2 evolutions, you have a Cramorant, you have a Snorlax. All of these can attack early and really try to make it difficult for Belina to even get to that point in the first place.
So just get things underway. It's only the first 30 seconds, but again, just both teams like trying to push against each other. Know that I'm there, feel the threat. This is my farm, not yours. Umbreon definitely wants to get online, but looking over towards Belgium, still at level 3, that is a hurting point right there.
So I'm kind of, that's just, again, why I'm kind of worried. I'm a little worried here for Belina on if, like, they stagnate at all. Even if they have some leads now, but if they stagnate at all and allow these levels to kind of be either caught up with some struggling like Leo right now, or if they ever falter and fall behind, suddenly we're going to see this power for Wit Team really start to exert itself right at those Unite levels.
Just calm. Go through, do the motions, stay in your farm. This is a little bit of a weird choice, I'm going to just say, but it is a foul play, Umbreon. A little bit of a mix-up from Wit Team. They really have just been pushing new ideas.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the foul play come up every once in a while, I think, in the current meta, but Meanlook has been really the go-to just with the lockdown you get. It feels like maybe they think that they just need to have a little bit more for the overall fights, is right now Pixel did get a good amount of damage in this top path and is kind of keeping Everett, the Floor, the Metang back at their point so they can rotate towards the central path, secure themselves the arterial paths, and then even go for this invade, getting themselves an eject button, but still getting out. No knockout there. It's kind of devastating for Wit Team because they used so much to get this, and now they themselves are getting knocked out.
Well, Snorlax caught a little bit too deep. The reason why I say the Umbreon's so weird, this has to be a Wish Umbreon still. Again, they got no support. But with foul play, it always feels better to run Snarl to me anyway, objectively, purely because then you're going fully on with that CC. You're not only pulling someone back into your back lines, but the Snarl to CC them, to stun them for a little bit, slow them down. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, that is true. So I kind of got to keep my eyes on what the build path is going to be here for Leo in this top path on the Umbreon. Especially as we are getting close to these Reggies now spawning. A little bit of a fight in this top path.
I don't like it. For me, that's like, you know, you're trying to have the best of both worlds, but realistically, when you're playing Pokemon Unite, you need to go fully in on one type of build to near enough maximize what you can get out. It's a little bit like when you see these Venusaurs running Sludge Bomb. I love this as the new meta. Fully slow them down, make it easier to get your beams onto them, make sure to really apply all that damage.
I like that.
The eject button trying to catch out TFs, but it doesn't just do it. It doesn't connect, and they're being punished hard here.
This is the problem. This is that power that we were talking about for Wit Team. They get their Unite moves, and they are so incredibly strong. They get themselves the Registeel, and now it feels like Belina, they're grasping at straws. They're hoping to get anything with the Woodhammer, getting the knockup and getting them knocked out on Umbreon so they can turn onto the attention of any other members of Wit Team. But unfortunately, because now they have sent so many members, everyone of Belina is in the bot path. Regieleki has been left alone in the top path. They get this knockout. They now need to capitalize on these points because otherwise everything is going to go topsy-turvy.
Well, this is it. Ceruledge, sure, you got the Regieleki, but at what cost? The bottom goal is going to get destroyed here. It is not a massive overdunk, but it's a point where you can pivot from, just absolutely remove. Ceruledge will be able to charge up to 40, but if they score this, is it really worth it in this case? Because it feels like this team is then going to have to pivot to be so heavy on Ceruledge that if they do fall in a fight, the team will just avalanche, will just absolutely fall away behind them.
Well, they are continuing to try this attack on a Metagross, and the big thing I think was that they needed to get the Cramorant towards that point as well. The fact that now everyone from Polina is moving around, they're roaming around like this goon squad on the Sky Ruins, that they are just a wrecking crew at this point that Wit Team just have not had the wits about them to fight back against.
Well, that's it. You've got the Trevenant and the Metagross going in, bringing it super close. Eldegoss doesn't even mind being in the fray there. Cotton crashing back down to Earth. And then Chandelure from this nice mid-range. Venusaur from afar. Those Sludge Bombs slowing down, making the rest of the Brawl comp like really nice forming around it. It's a hit team. That's exactly what it is right there. You know, they just pick out a Pokemon and they go, we don't like them anymore. Get rid of them.
Yeah, just they got the number on somebody, they get rid of them, and they can even get out like this. You see how much had been used, but nice Revenant Rend into the back line as Pixel, 2 games in a row, looks like he is about to clean up this game in this series.
Wit Team also quickly charging onto the Registeel. Those attack buffs would be massive for him right now. Do you have to be careful up here with the Solar Beam? A little bit too late. Umbreon will get the 40 in. And Trevenant, it feels like it's a little bit of a wasted opportunity. The attempt is just going to have to fall to the side. Sylveon will be able to get 40 in as well. That is the bottom goal removed. And things have been really nicely evened up by Wit Team.
And it feels like Wit Team now are the team that are the Goon Squad moving around the Sky Ruins. They are the ones that are collecting on these debts and saying, oh, you're a little bit overextended. We don't like you. Let's get the pick onto you. Metagross, you shouldn't have been going for these back caps because we got the Phantom Force with the knockup. But Everett now has started to collapse from Polina. Even if Metagross had gone, the Woodhammer got a triple knockup. But now the knockups themselves, as they are getting knocked out. Polina had nothing left. They're all scattered. They weren't together like we had seen so many times before in this game.
Perfect usage of Unite moves there, magical. Notice the Sylveon, the Umbreon, utilizing Unite move to give themselves essentially iframes where they are invincible. They don't take any damage. That then means those big attacks, your Solar Beams from your Venusaur, for example, matter for nothing. They stay alive in the fight. They then are able to pivot over to the Regieleki, send it on its way. Then they can fall back, pick up the farm quite nicely. 50 seconds until Ray once again. And Wit Team are in the driving seat purely because they have now got Cramorant and Sylveon both online. It is not a single Pokemon focus for this squad anymore.
But Bacon, remember how I said before, I like the late game scaling that Polina brought into this one. And we are at this point where they aren't too far behind that of Wit Team. You look at the levels, yeah, there are some discrepancies, but it's not massive. And having your Venusaur at 12, if you can get it at 13 before Rayquaza spawns, if you can get that, I think you have a chance to actually fight back and win this series.
It needs to be 13 for Solar Beam Plus. That's all I'm going to say here. Get that extra damage off. But it's pretty close. Maybe it'll tick over in the middle of a fight because, well, Ray is just knocking the door right now. And there it is, the 13. But can they get a very impactful Solar Beam off? I'm looking towards Trevenant to set it up for them.
That's what I'm looking at as well. You got to get yourself in this position, especially as you are behind. It's the final stretch, and not just the final stretch of this game, but the series, because winner takes it and moves on. Loser is eliminated. Both teams struggling to find that angle, but Wit Team, they're going to be the ones that aggress on first, and Sylveon could be the target, trying to go up into the air to survive with the invulnerability with the Woodhammer, getting the lockdown, and out you go, Snorlax, another dive in the back line, but it's going to be all Cerule Edge, another Revenant Rend, didn't get any pickups, nobody's been knocked out yet for Polina, but it's the knockouts themselves, it's Polina starting to clean up, even if Cerule Edge did get Metagross, it is 2 down, only the one of Polina, they're the ones in control, and they can get this quickly.
Spagna with the best Cotton Crash I have ever seen, perfectly timing it on the opposite side of Umbreon's Unite move so that they can then heal up, put a little bit of shields on everyone perfectly. It is not negated, but now the respawn's coming in. You can notice Wit Team wanting to throw it back. Cerule Edge doing massive damage alongside the Cramorant, who picks up a free KO streak. 4!
They get a 4! Oh, they could go for the 5. They got Metagross up. They see him, but they just want to make sure they win this game. No need to go for the spice. No need to go for the extra dice here. They just want to move on in the EU qualifiers. Wit Team, it got dicey there for a second, and now you've got one potential knockout left here. 20 seconds left in this game, and it's all down to this for Belina. They've got to go for the Hail Mary onto Rayquaza. They've got to burn it down, but you got 10 seconds left, and then you got to go for the dunks. It's down so low, but can you get it and then get the points? Not at all! It's Wit Team's game to win, and the Bird secures the Dragon at the bitter end.
Wit Team, after dropping game number 1, have to bounce back, utilize all 3 games. It's what you expect from a team of this quality. They'll be moving on into semi-finals, literally out of the frying pan and into the fire, as it'll be E3 and Snow that they've got to face up against. EU is absolutely stacked at the moment. The Elite Tour is absolutely stacked, and this is just for one spot to the main event. These teams know they want to get it in nice and early. They want that security.
And when you look at how this game was too for Wit Team, it kind of shows how calm and collected they can be as a squad, where they fall behind, they lose game 1 in kind of a tragic way. But then they bounced back in game 2. They looked really good on how they were able to utilize the back caps out of Pixel. But then game 3, like Pixel again, massive on that Cerule edge, really looking good for the team. But the entirety of the team fought so well around Rayquaza when it could have been moments. There were definitely ways that Belina could fight back. There was a couple really good picks that they had there right at Rayquaza. But the biggest problem was that they have a very telegraphed composition. And when you have something like Cerule Edge that is really good at staying on top of your attackers in the back line, and you have no plan to get rid of it, it's a struggle bus.
But again, notice, like Belina, we were talking about, let's just point out, Dr. Gallo, right? Was a big highlight player for us. I talked about Spagna on that Edagos in the final moments, keeping them in the fray. These are incredibly talented players, and it is just, you know, in this one matchup, things didn't go right. Maybe the drafts just weren't correct for how these two teams sort of play. Or in this case, it wasn't correct for Belina and how they want to play. But they'll be able to go in. They will come back stronger next Thursday, hopefully, for the second EU qualifier, right? But we just noticed the caliber, the amount of talent and skill that is in the Pokemon Unite scene, and you just can't help but just be in awe of it, right?
Exactly. I mean, that's what's really nice to see, especially when it comes to tournaments like this, where you have the qualifiers and you see how close some of these matchups can be, especially with the shifting meta and when you have a lot of changes for new opportunities for newer players to kind of show themselves and show their stuff that they can bring to the field. But we are going to toss to a break as we get ready for our semifinals, so make sure you stay tuned because we will be right back. Hello, hello, welcome into the Unite Battle Hub. We are here for some more action for our EU qualifiers, and I'm Magical, joined in by Bacon and Kanashi. Kanashi, we lost you for a little bit there, unfortunately, but we got you back. So how'd you enjoy that last series? I know you had to watch from the sidelines.
Yeah, that was I guess what you would say stressful. There were there were moments where like the game looked like it was going one way, and then Ray showed up and messed up the entire script. If we had a script for the entire thing, he just tore it up and just made it confetti. So yeah, overall a really good series. I mean, there's a lot of really back and forth moments, and none of the games were runaways, and you didn't know until literally the end of the final stretch. So that's what we want to see, though. We want to see, you know, really high, intense, fun games like that. So really well played.
Yeah, it was a well-played series from both teams, but unfortunately, only one team could move forward, and that is WIT team. And they get on to the semifinals, but they're going to be on the other one. We have our semifinal slot we'll be seeing here, and it's going to be Yalla without Bingo and Party Girls. So Bacon, kind of looking at these two teams, we did see Party Girls earlier, but kind of walk us through a little bit about Yalla without Bingo.
So, of course, everyone knows Yalla Bingo, very much so by now. But yes. Yalla without Bingo, a little bit of a mix-up with, of course, the Yalla Bingo team. So we've got Utao, Internal, Lundaru, Marv, Rezu, and Nisburn there. Of course, 6 players. Don't exactly know which 5 of them are going to be turned up, but expect the top of EU here. Pie Girls, this new up-and-coming side, though, some new ideas. Back during that the quarterfinals, they really impressed us. So we'll have to see here. Yalla Bingo, they can't just, you know, come in a little bit napping. They've got to really go all guns are blazing because they cannot rest in the matchup like this.
Not at all. And kind of looking at how this could go for both teams, I'm kind of looking at how the draft will be, and I don't expect too many things to change up the phalanx. The Leafeon is a little bit different for me, though, Kenishi.
Yeah, the Leafeon ban will give a little bit of a ways for a couple other Pokemon to possibly fall to the wayside. So giving us a little bit more variety possibly when we do see it come up in the draft. So we'll see if people were leaning towards Leafeon. I know we saw a couple Venusaurs in the past couple games, but we'll see if that's going to help or harm their draft as we start off here.
Okay, Umbreon actually going to be the first thing locked in by Party Girls, not opting to take either the Hoopa or Trevenant. We did see Hoopa was banned in this series, but maybe still have that high priority. Wow, y'all without Bingo for the tree themselves. They just want to grab things like that Hoopa, like that Sylveon.
Well, in all fairness, Sylveon we've seen is so strong. A Hooper right now kind of feels like, especially with how strong Trick has kind of become, that is a want to play. Cramorant, I don't know what it is that Cramorant, like you said, is a strong pick, but it's not an every game kind of pick, so Cramorant is just popping in the
Bacon,
EU, Snorlax.
No, Bacon, you clearly don't understand. The bird is always the word. If I'm here, I expect Cramorant every single game. When I'm not here, sure, you don't have to pick it. But okay. I'm glad the teams and the players understand that if I'm here, they gotta play the bird.
But look at this, picking Snorlax over Trevenant. This is kind of madness going on.
Kanashi, what are your thoughts on this so far? They definitely have some adaptations, I think, that are very uniquely EU going on so far.
Yeah, I'm getting lost in the sauce a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of like really like standard pickups, but this is very, you know, defensive, supportive, like kind of a draft where they look like they want to play Protect the President with whatever their last pick is. Party Girls, for the most part, picking up a pretty solid role, deciding to go with the Snorlax. So it's, once again, a really solid barrier, good way to create separation. But yeah, I do think it's going to come down to whatever this last pick is from Yalla without Bingo. It's going to be the Chandelure. So it's going to give them a little bit more of a wall to play with. And I think that this is going to be really interesting to see how well a dive comp will go in against a team that's literally there to play, like, Protect the President almost.
Yeah, Yalla without Bingo, their composition is really interesting. Two supporters, Mime and Hoopa, then have the Blastoise to create a little bit of extra space too, but you have great lockdown tools on the other side for Party Girls. I'm expecting a lot of dive. Everyone pretty much trying to get onto this back line. You kind of called it out really well there, Geneshi, that this is a composition that wants to dive, but there's the Protect the President on the other side to try to see if they can survive and keep the Chandelure safe. So I'm going to give it over to you two to get us into this game and get us going into this one, because I'm excited to see how both squads will pair up.
I'm kind of thinking here, Kanashi, right now. Could it be the spin storms? For so long, we've seen Surf be the choice for that Blastoise, but if they want a strong front line, a Spinstoise paired with a, you know, a leash from the Mr. Mime. Just saying, you know, Swap could have come. Even if they want to walk their weird pink dog in Sylveon, Mr. Mime can do that. Like, this is a team with, whilst they're all Pokemon we're very, very familiar with, you know, they're not weird picks, but the combination of all five of them is kind of where we're here scratching our heads going, like, what are they cooking here? I'm intrigued.
Yeah, and hopefully it works out for them and doesn't burn down the whole house. Not that I have experience with that, but I do think that if it is a spin choice, it makes sense that the Mr. Mime was picked. Mr. Mime will give them, you know, the walls and the push that they need, so something to give them a keep off tool. But if they need a frontline option and they do go with like an aggressive spin choice, I think that would really help them out, especially deal with something like Lucario. To just kind of give them a little bit of space to work with, so that Chandelure can cook, essentially.
Theorycraft as well, you say walls to work from. What if it is just a Surf Hydro Pump and they're creating the walls? You don't need to use the landscape, you just need to use what the funny clown provides you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, sometimes you get some weird stuff because, one, we're not used to seeing Mr. Mime that often, so when it is piloted really well, you know, you get a lot of utility out of it, and usually things that teams aren't prepared for.
Okay, top fight. The first of the Swablu and the single Arteria, and well, they're gone near enough in a moment. It's going to be the Wartortle to go back to base, get a quick little heal up, and then they will charge in using that Skull Bash. Will they be able to catch out the Glaceon? Yes, of course they will, and get some nice, healthy little dunks on top of that. That's 57, just quickly booting them up, and on the bottom half, they're scoring as well.
Yeah, and it looks like it is going to be the Hydro Pump coming out from the Wartortle. Had to remember what the middle evolution is called. But yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. Just making sure that they can deal some of the damage. Another knockout going towards Yala on that Chandelure. So just trying to keep the tempo up, get their levels where they can, and keep the team pressure up.
We know it is the Hyperspace hole from the Hooper as well. A little bit more standard. A heavy slam straight onto the Mr. Mime. You are a fake defender. Us Snorlaxes are the real defenders. Thank you, good sir.
That's exactly what he said. We're going to go barrier for barrier, but making sure to go ahead and crush his opponent right now. Keep that spacing going and try to swing a little bit of that experience back their way.
Gonna be intrigued to see if we do... No, it's gonna be a Hurricane on the Premrant. I was wondering, because Dive, I prefer mixed with Air Slash, you know?
Yeah, it just gives them a lot more space to play with, and this one just looks a little bit more standard once again, like Surf Hydro Pump, Blastoise just to once again get a get off B tool. I'm assuming they're gonna put more eggs in their Chandelure basket, so I think that's gonna be the play. It's just pretty safe compositions overall. Marv trying not to get sat on again. Gonna be able to back out. Just play it and get ready for this basement Reggie here.
What Reggie is it? A Reggie Rock as well. That's not too bad for either side, realistically. Hyper Voice as well on this Sylveon has got some very nice targets to pick out. Will be the Snorlax full first. But regroup here isn't too bad for Yalu without Bingo. They know they just can't burst this one down, especially when you've got a Cramorant over there with the Hurricane.
Yeah, and they're just trying to close out that distance just a little bit, trying to chip away, but it's so tough with this hyperspace hole, just allowing the team to back out, reheal. Fairy Frolic gonna go ahead, popped up here, but the block is just gonna give them just enough space for Party Girls to go ahead and take more space from them. You just see the Snorlax just absorbing so much of these hits, and Party Girls starting to score.
Here's a block Snorlax as well. Oh, my heart, it beats it twice. The base, the Blastoise. We talked about it. Could it be the Spinstoise? No. What about utilizing these walls? It don't even need the walls. Surfing to Hydro Pump is just so darn strong as it is. Poor Umbreon is just getting bullied here.
Yeah, just pushed away from the rest of the team. Just nice Hydro Typhoon to catch out a couple people and a good swing of speed and experience. But Snorlax is back. Block is currently up, now down. So just trying to create a little bit of space for Party Girls, trying to get whatever advantage they can and try not to trade too much out here.
Regieleki, sorry, not Regice. Regice was earlier. Regieleki hasn't even been touched on that top path. Finally, Blastoise is looking to get a couple of knocks in, but Pygale's not phased by it too much. They will send the Lucario on its way up, but realistically, they're kind of just letting this one chill.
Yeah, just looking to possibly grab that, maybe get the last hit on it. But we'll see what ends up happening. Hydro Typhoon! No! Wow. The Lucario's going to seal it up with the Aura Cannon as they continue to push on into Yala without Bingo. And Regieleki's going to start doing its little hop towards that first goal. And we'll see if Party Girls can usher it in.
I guess so far have been looking mighty impressive. Not only is still there, but then that fight on the bottom half. Will they be able to send it the whole way? No, they just let their opponents deal with it as they'll go and look to just steal the rest of the farm, the wild Pokemon, towards the central paths. And maybe pivot towards this bottom path because, well, a bottom Reggie is just about spawning.
Yeah, Basement Reggie now online. I don't remember my noises. I'm pretty sure that's an ice, I think. They're going to have to head down there, figure out what they want to go ahead and do with that. More scores trying to come up here for Yala without Bingo, forcing Party Girls to go ahead and rotate through, but that's why you have the Hyperspace Hole. It is a rock. They're going to go ahead and get the rock with more other players rotating through without having to really worry about the pressure up at top anymore.
As they deal with Wayne, the rest of Party Girls turn up to the fight, and they're picking up the scraps they picked up Mr. Mime from the down, not wanting anything to do with them. And even though that, they do still weigh the Reggie Rock at the same time, then they'll pivot towards this goal. Still 74 to score to get rid of it, but they don't mind too much. They just want KOs right now, give them a little bit more XP.
Yeah, trying to give them some more space. The block going to create more space for the team. Trying to get this 50 score in and trying to make it as close as possible, but it's looking pretty tough. Like a tall order here since the rest of the team is starting to respawn back. Block trying to push the team into their team at the moment. Party Girls going to go ahead and just break it just to get rid of the gold pad. And that's what you got to do against a Hoopa, you know. That was priority number one. It's break gold pad, no more rotations.
Do still have this top goal pad though. It's not been a high scoring game so far, so this is something in the work from Regieleki wouldn't be amiss if it was to start walking towards that tier 2 purple goal. That seems to be a plan here for Yellow without Bingo. They don't want to necessarily leave it a little bit too long, you know, make things difficult for the Reggie fight, purely because they have got a Lucario just like waiting in the wings. Pygirls should now, the focus be, get rid of this Regieleki, then instantly pivot towards that Reggie fight, the Ray fight, sorry.
I think that should be the play. Hopefully they can get a little bit of information. It looks like the Snorlax is getting possibly chased out of this bottom bush at the moment, but there's not a lot of damage down here. So if Yellow without Bingo gets a little aggressive, they might be able to find the opportunity to do that. They're trying to look for a block onto the Sylveon, not going to be able to lock it into the corner there, so just gonna go ahead and back out. They're looking and hedging, especially now that Ray is up.
Oh, they've caught Utah. This Chandelure needs to fall, utilizing that Unite move as they try and move towards the Hyperspace Hole, but they are caught. That's a massive pick. Pygirls know that their opposition don't have one of the biggest damage dealers. That's the showtime from Mr. Mime as they'll look to just hunt down the opposition. But is it enough? They picked out the Glaceon, but instead Pygirls will fall back here. They don't want to lose another number. They need to regroup.
Yeah, they need to regroup, and they are a little bit behind, but up at top, Yellow without Bingo gonna go ahead and score 100 right there using the Blastoise off the rotation. So now Yellow without Bingo just applying more pressure in terms of the scores. Party Girl really does need this Ray in order to really secure their win here.
Yala without Bingo will be hunting for Pokemon after Pokemon. What Pygirls need to do is regroup, heal up, and then get ready for one final Ray fight. The issue is, though, they'll have to do it without an Umbreon. Yala without Bingo will look to just get rid of this Lucario, but Cramorant is perfect here. Would be able to get a couple of ticks onto Ray, and maybe even a steal. They could send someone on their way, but this is close. Oh, can they get the Sylveon as well? They'll chase after them with the block. Maybe a heavy slam to finish it up, but Ray is super close to the Glaceon does get it. Can they rush it towards the goal?
Yeah, this is a matter of a foot race now. They need a little bit more than just this 100. They need at least two different score options here. And there it is right there. Danny going to be able to collapse on the first one
need Umbreon.
as Sorlox gets down at the bottom. Umbreon trying to score this 40 is not in time. So yeah, looking really close here.
It's not enough. I don't think it's enough. I think they'll be 12 short. I'm pretty sure they'll be at 310. Yeah. That hurts. That's smarts right there.
Dang. Yeah, 12. I can't count. That's a good math. Good job. But yeah, oh my god, that match was once again super close down to the wire, just neck and neck through the whole game, and then one not quite securing Ray, and then trying to make the run in the last couple seconds. Yeah, it's not over until the final horn blows here. So
literally 1
overall,
second more, and
yeah.
Pygirls would have won that. That hurts so much.
Yeah. If it's not only that, like, they were just back by 12, if even the Snorlax scored, it would have given them just that tiny bit they needed. They just needed the animation to go through. So really well played by them overall. So I don't think either of these teams change any of their tactics heading into game number 2. It was literally a coin flip once again towards the Ray.
I think Yala without Bingo are a little too cocky. I will say that, and I don't think anyone's going to be like, you're absolutely wrong. No, they cut that way too close. What they needed to do in those final moments was maybe elect to rip the Ray early, whilst their opposition only had, say, 3 Pokemon up, maybe even 2 at some sort of points, so that they couldn't then run it towards the goal. Or, on the offhand, actively go for the Pokemon, because they kind of went for this weird area of some were attacking Ray to try and steal it away, some were going for the opposition, and no one really could do much about it, hence why Todoroki on the Glaceon was able to snatch that Ray at the last moment.
Yeah, it's the it's the lack of priority of what you need to do in those certain fights. Sometimes you're just like, yeah, big green dragon in the middle, it seems to be kind of the biggest threat right now. But at the same time, you have to keep in mind, you know, the other team is respawning. They're coming back. They're coming in waves. So you have to, like, find a way to hold them off while still being able to secure your objectives. So, yeah, I do agree. I think Yala without Bingo can definitely clean up around the pit if they wanted to. But we'll definitely be checking them out as we start heading into the second draft here.
Yeah, will they bring the brooms this time? That is the question. Will they clean up around the pit after themselves 10 seconds? And what will they bring? It's looking to be a Blaziken again, and I don't mind that too much. Yellow without Bingo, though, this Leafeon is kind of just left field. I don't know what they're thinking here, because we've seen Pygirls bring, you know, Talonflame beforehand. Other speedsters aren't too bad at the moment. Leafeon's just not OP. Like, I remember when Leafeon was first banned every single time about 4 months ago, you know? We're not in that phase anymore.
Yeah, yeah, these evolutions kind of coming out of left field right now. The thing that okay, the Phalanx is gone. So unless this is Yellow without Bingo's idea of like snatching up something kind of broken at the start, just by lacking on the picks, grab something that can work best for them. That might be the play, but it's still really risky.
Out of all things to pick first is a Slowbro. Like, that's not what I was counting on in any way. I thought it'd be the Sylveon. Maybe the Hooper, just try and smart them a little bit. Perhaps the Trevenant, maybe an Umbreon. No, Slowbro. Okay. What are they picking now? I can kind of see Phalanx and Blaziken being the bans on Pyre Girls. That's fine. Utah, whenever it's just a big high damage output, you're kind of scared, and they themselves probably don't want to run something like a Venusaur to stop it. And we're going Inteleon when Inteleon is kind of very off meta right now. Long range is not strong. What is this?
I don't know, man. Are they asking their chat to like pick right now? Because it feels like it. Like there's like a lot of picks that Party Girls are like solid picks, you know. Pick the Cram, pick the Umbreon, take the Sylveon, follow it up with a Hoopa here as well. Just things that we've seen, like very meta picks. But Yalla without Bingo, I know that you were saying, you know, don't play so cocky. It looks like they just want to bring that to game number 2 and see what they could get away with.
Interesting here. Rezu on the Lucario, and then Utah to pick up an Absol. Absol again, not necessarily meta at the moment. Like, this is a team that kind of bewilders me. We do have a rainbow comp in every single color you can possibly pick, but I'm very curious about what their idea is, especially when, you know, Kremrant would have been, I think, a much like more common pick right now in place of that Inteleon, but they've got an idea. Trevenant being left to last is just wild to me once again, and I feel like Pie Girls are looking at this going, okay, we're pretty happy here. We've got a lot to work around. We can sort of huddle up our team. That's perfect for the Hooper. That's what they want. On the opposite end, Yala without Bingo, like, Hooper isn't necessarily pushed away. Sure, Lucario can push everyone out of the pool, but I think they're just playing their own game, what they want to play. They're not necessarily looking to hamper their opposition so much.
Yeah, it might be that thing that my coach used to tell me. It's like when you're playing chess, sometimes you just got to play Mahjong. And this might be the play where it's more like Party Girls is playing standard Pokemon Unite. Meanwhile, Yalla without Bingo just seems to be playing some random other game that we don't know yet. And it's just a matter of time before they finally show us what the rules of that game might be.
And the weirdest part, right? If this was 3 months ago, this comp for Yalla without Bingo, I'd been like, okay, let's... You know, a little bit weird to see a Lucario in the mix, but it's not a bad Pokemon. Like, you know, it just feels like an out-of-date comp, which is such a weird sort of statement to, like, be so... I don't want to say we're banging on about it, but, you know, just being there like, oh, I don't think this is the right draft, when it's just out-of-date. That's not bad. Pie Girls just have been allowed to run what they want, and that, for me, is the issue. This is the second series, of course, we're seeing them, but Pie Girls, this is what they want to draft, whereas Yalla without Bingo, like, sure, they might want to draft this, but it feels like less of a cohesive team draft and rather what the individuals want to play.
Yeah, it's like, what do you have the most hours on? We're going to play that right now. That kind of seems like the play heading into this game number 2 here, but once again, Party Girls kind of got the comp that they want, and we'll see if Yalla without Bingo can answer back with their hodgepodge of a comp that we're seeing right now.
What is this from Todoroki? Okay. I thought they might have DC'd at some point, you know, and they were just going left, but that was such a weird late invade into going down to the bottom path, so they've kind of had 30 seconds of no action. I know it's an early game. I know they can catch up. But it just feels like a lot of wasted time, right?
It could have been a lot of time that could have been used to, like, farm up, get your levels, was spent trying to steal theirs, and it's already gone because you have to deal with Absol being able to hard clear really quick.
Yeah, you looked, for me anyway, I'm looking towards that top path and going like, yeah, that feels like that's being hurt from this entire play. Hooper on their own will just get a couple of ticks off, but it's just delaying these scores. 70 already in for Yellow without Bingo. That is split between the top goal and the bottom goal, mind you. Only 41 scored into that top goal, so it's kind of weird as a choice here from Pie Girls, and I don't know why they're responding like this.
Yeah, like, it did eat up a lot of time, and the thing is, these top laners do need their levels and the assistance, especially with the rotation coming in from their central area player as well. So I think the rotations may have been a little off, but it looks like they're trying to make up for it right now.
Absol already level 8, and there's still 50 seconds left to go until the first Reggies. Inteleon will be online. Lucario is absolutely pumping as well, nearly at level 7. Todoroki will fall, and there is your level 7. Utah is nearly level 9 on this Absol. That is crazy.
Yeah, it's been farming pretty much everything, and now it's looking to get possibly a little bit more greedy by taking the central area farm of Party Girls right now. But yeah, having level 9, which it might get right here actually, having the Unite move going into the first objective spawn is going to be really big for them.
And we all know how big Absol's Unite move is for being able to deal damage. Just ran across the entire opposition here, and when they don't have a real way to stop them, it's scary.
Yeah, there's no real true lockdown potential besides the Trevenant for the most part. It's going to be really tough to contain Utah. So, yeah, just kind of letting them get whatever objectives they want at this point until you find an answer for that Absol.
I'm trying to think what could the answers be here. It just feels like get that Sylveon more powerful, maybe get a level advantage to Lucario to steal away the Regieleki. And this is where Yala without Bingo will become scary. Just huddle up together and deal absolute behemoths amounts of work on the opposition. You can see trying to catch out the Umbreon, and they do finally pick them. Get rid of the gold. Todoroki is the next port of call, and that ship has sailed.
Yeah, gonna go ahead and take out the rest of the team, forcing them back even more, and the levels advantage are getting a little out of hand, just a tiny bit. Utah's already level 11. And you already have the Lucario already at 10. Party Girls is just having a really tough time finding any experience and just trying to get a couple of picks, but they really desperately need 1 or 2.
You know, when we were questioning this draft from Yala about Bingo right before the game started? Yeah, that did not age well. I still question the draft because it still makes no sense, but boy oh boy, did they cook.
It's one of those ones where it looks really bad on paper, but the confidence of the players like make you think, yeah, I can run that. And then you just see the speed that they're playing at. It's like a totally different gear compared to what Party Girls is on right now. So like, yeah, they're just playing at a different tempo.
Yeah. Sorry, you want to put chilies in chocolate? You know, that spicy thing with like that very sweet, creamy thing? Like, that doesn't sound like it. Oh, it really works well together. Oh my. Okay. Interesting.
Big Dante coming through. Regirock down at the bottom. I don't think I've seen a Registeel today, so it's only rocks and ice.
The first one was a steal.
Oh, the first one. Okay, yeah.
There's now like an awkward silence from Pie Girls because they can't show up at objectives because they just cannot contest them. They feel too weak. But then a lot of XP is just being lost. So they're instead going for these like singular picks to try and get their XP back, and then looking for the catch-up XP. But it's all going to be down to the Ray for them, and they know that.
Yeah, and they have to find like a big pick to help them with that swing experience as well. And they're trying to force something here at the 4-minute mark. Fairy Frolic gonna get popped up. Azure Lane Vision. That's a mobile game, my bad. Azure Spy Vision gonna be popped up here. Gonna go ahead and grab a couple more players, taking them off of the board here. But once again, Party Girls looking for catch-up experience, and finding that is gonna be really tough here. Especially when Yala without Bingo is going to be playing a little bit more safe heading into this final stretch. They were just kind of looking for an excuse to blow some of these Unite moves and get their levels flowing again.
Still a long way. We could get another team fight and then still charge up the Unite moves before Ray. Yellow without Bingo are very split up because they've been so quick and on top of all this farm. There's not much actually left on the field to play with, and Pie Girls are elected to go for this bomb path. They have taken out London. That's a big pick right there, but can they get Utah? Utah is running.
Yeah, Utah doesn't want any part of the... Oh, okay, never mind. Might come back, looking into it to possibly pick somebody off on the backside of it. but Party Girls just having to catch one out, and that's exactly what they needed before this big fight, trying to get a couple of these scores through, create a little bit of space for them, and this Umbreon is just so tanky, absorbing so much of this hit. That's a Caster Skirts right there. Just gonna go ahead and grab a couple of KOs, trying to back out and just stabilize before this final stretch.
That does now mean that Yellow Without Bingo can't just hold on to the raid. They have to commit to it as well. That might be a plan from Pie Girls here. Bottom Regice, they can just let that go. That's not an issue. But there is still the time. This top Regieleki could be contested, and that could cause issues for both squads.
Yeah, they do send a couple of people up there. I don't think that they're tested, but they might be looking for somebody to rotate and or to get caught out here. As we see the Trevenant just casually walking by, a lot of Party Girls just trying to figure out where they're gonna go here as we start entering into that final stretch.
Here you go, Trevenant going deep alongside this Umbreon, who just got absolutely chunked there, mind you. These snipe shots just whistling across the two bits of grass. The bushes are not safe, folks. Sure, you can't see in and no one can see you in there, but the damage can still be applied. Trevenant needs to get out of dodge, and they do run it away, but there's a green dragon in the way. No, be careful. Their hurricanes do throw you up in the air, do tons of damage.
Yeah, and they're looking for more. They do pick off the Absol, so the main damage threat is down, and now Party Girls trying to look for an opening right now, utilizing that Hoops Unbound to bring back the teammates that may have fallen here. But you do see the Aura Sphere coming straight through, looking for even more, and Party Girls slowly falling apart now as Yellow Without Bingo just being able to flip the switch, and trying to figure out their way through.
Hooper has already unbound themselves in the previous fight, so can't put anything up for that. And Yala Without Bingo will easily take the raid. It wasn't an easy game two. It wasn't an easy game one, but game two, they looked so comfortable. And with that, they move into the finals.
Yeah, it's one of those matches that, once again, we were saying on paper, this makes no sense. But once you figure out who's behind each Pokemon, how confident they are playing it, it just works. They are playing once again, it feels like they're playing at a different tempo than Party Girls. Party Girls was playing like, okay, we, split the farm. This is our P's and Q's, kind of just be good. And then Yellow Without Bingo is like, no, no, this is ours now. So really interesting play style coming out from Yellow Without Bingo, really showcasing kind of their multiple styles and plays that they can play and pick up here.
I mean, it showed why there are favorites coming into this event, why they are the big names, the ones known, and it also shows that Pie Girls, whilst being close, still have a little bit more to work on. They will be a promising team and players going into next season of UCS, but for right now, they need a little bit more time in the oven, and we need a few minutes to head to a break, folks. We have one of our teams confirmed. I am just quickly checking over on Community Gaming. Do we have confirmation from the other semi-final? Not just yet. A3 and Snow are still fighting out against Wit Team. On the opposite side of this break, though, we will find out which two teams will be fighting for that final spot after this. Welcome back in, folks. We're finally to the top 2, and we finally got Kogashi. It's the grand finals. So, you know, we gotta bring the watery boy out of his pond. Kogashi, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm good. I woke up from the pond and I saw some weird pics and I was happy. Very good game.
Rachko, you were there casting with me, of course, and like earlier on today, and we've seen like massive ins, massive outs of like what we're expecting, but that last series is got to be said. It just felt like an all-star pickup of what is your strongest pick with Utah and Co.
I mean, yeah, Yellow without Bingo. It might be Yellow without Bingo, but they still got the Bingo there because they looked real good in that series. Game 1 got a little dicey there for a bit at the Rayquaza fight. I thought for a second we were about to have an actual series, but what was it 12 points? Just 12 points shy, which was a bit brutal. But then game 2 is just the Yellow without Bingo going, all right, look, we might have messed around a little bit too much in game 1. We're just winning now. It's over.
So, Kogashi, looking at this, first team coming up to qualify, of course, for our main event on the 21st. For the folks at home, next Thursday, we'll have another EU qualifier. On Tuesday, we're actually having an NA qualifier. And on the 20th will be the last chance qualifier. That spot, which was lost because, well, NA just didn't want to turn up on Tuesday for whatever reason, will be rolled into the LCQ. So we'll have 5 spots coming in from that event. Let me put that on screen so you can all see, and I've gone way too far. Does not matter. On the 20th, that is going to be your best chance to get in. But if you can get these earlier spots, that's a little bit of security. And of course, you can wait in the wings, watch what your opponent's doing, get yourself nice and prepared. But Kogashi, looking at this, A3 and Snow versus Yellow without Bingo. The kind of mix-up teams we know from the main season coming into the off-season. But give me a little rundown. What are you excited to see from these two squads?
I feel like Yala without Bingo has been playing with a massive amount of confidence, especially with that last roster. So I think that they're going to do the same thing here. When it comes to 8-3 with Snow or plus Snow, we haven't seen them on broadcast. So we have to take note and see what may have gone down with them and their other opponents. So yeah, looking forward. Hopefully it's more of like a we'll see if it's the meta versus whatever Bingo feels like playing today, you know?
Magical. I can see near enough the two squads in a Discord call together. Like, we know the top of EU are all friends. Do you think that gives, like, you know, better chance to one side? Maybe they know each other so well so they know what they want to pick. What are the strategies going into this last game?
I mean, I'm always going to advocate for the bird. But that's besides
that's the wrong bird.
I think it's close enough. That's all I got right now is this. So I had it within reach.
I'll get you some blue markers or something. Don't worry, we can turn it into a crown.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. We got to get some fish too, so I can start spitting at people. But either way, the most important thing I think is going to be like the fact that they know each other. They're played against each other in many a different tournament, and that adds a lot. Like, just coming from any other game, the more you play against people, the more you understand their tactics, not just the Pokemon themselves, but the strategies they like to go for as a team. That almost makes it easier but harder at the same time, because now you're almost playing rock, paper, scissors. Are they going to go for that strategy? If they go for that strategy, we go for this strategy. But then they can read that and go, we're going to go for the other strategy that beats that one. And it's which one reads them right on the day. And that's really going to be more important than even just looking at the meta Pokemon. Honestly, you could even tell the teams, like, they can't play the same Pokemon 2 games in a row. And I still think that both teams would be able to read each other really well.
Well, then, Kanashi, Kogashi, Kogashi, you let Kanashi talk, I guess. We've seen loads of big, powerful picks today. But for you, what has been that standout pick? What Pokemon has really risen to the top?
I mean, as a water Pokemon myself, the Cramorant has been doing a lot of work. And yeah, just you know, I'll save it for the cast if I need to use it. But yeah, definitely really good on the mobility and the burst down. But the other thing that, like, I'm surprised to see is more of my ground fellas with the Guard Chomp. being paired up with a couple of people. So it's not something that you see every day, but sometimes when it does get rolling, it's kind of scary.
Same question to you then, Magical. Like, what Pokemon, of course, not Cramorant, we've already that one taken. Any other Pokemon that really, like, exceeded all expectations, you think?
You're not gonna let me talk about the bird.
Go on, talk about the bird first, then.
Yes! I mean, okay, I'm just memeing. The bird is amazing. I've talked about it a lot. But I think the big one for me is actually seeing not like, we already saw a lot of Umbreon, but now we're seeing that it's become, like, I think the king of defenders, even compared to that of Slowbro and Trevenant that had been permanently banned in many other qualifiers, many other tournaments leading up until today. We are really seeing that Umbreon is starting to take that #1 spot of defenders. And everyone's like, wait a minute, that's right. Umbreon always was pretty good, right? Like, we were already playing it before, but now we're realizing we don't even need to take away Trevenant or Slowbro. We can just go for Umbreon if we want to, and it's perfectly fine. Now we leave ourselves open where we can ban other more important Pokemon that we really are having a hard time dealing with.
And that for me is a big teller. Umbreon's still being picked near enough first by a lot of these teams when Trevenant, Snorlax, Slowbro is still on the table. For the folks at home as well that might not be in the know, Aethry and Snow, let me quickly just introduce, of course, the players you all know: Gakami, Potato, Nachos, Luca, and, well, their name is in the squad. Snow themselves. Snow for me is going to be, I know, the one to watch. If it's not them, it's definitely going to be Nachos and Attacker, but Snow for me is going to be so pivotal. Normally it's the support to the squad to be able to really lift them up. And Kanashi, I think that's also another point we need to make at the moment, where supports are the sort of pivotal foundation to a lot of these teams.
Yeah, we see how important the Hoopa is for rations and also healing, but also the Eldegoss. We've seen the Goss be able to keep teams up, and yeah, including that is the Mr. Mime that we rarely see, but when it does come up, you know, creating barriers, like pushing people away, making it tough for them to actually engage, I think is the right word. Sorry, brain small. But yeah, I think that all of those are pivotal moves that are necessary to make the game work for them. So I feel like that's something that we have to keep an eye out for. If Hoopa doesn't get banned, what are the other options to keep the team stable?
And also, Magical, we've seen a lot of the, you know, we're talking earlier about how Brawl Comp is so strong right now, but it also feels like we're seeing a weird mix up in, like, priorities with objectives. Some teams even electing to be a little bit more coy, a little bit more shy about being the first there to really brawl over it, and then look for the snatch, look for the steal to the objective, and then pounce afterwards, right?
It's something I kind of like to call, like, the catch and release, where it's like you build a composition that sees that your opponents want to dive, they want to get into the back line, and you have a good way of kind of like absorbing that. You push back, you allow them to push into you, but then you can snap it back and throw it right back in their face. So that way, when they overcommit, you've got them in this almost entanglement that you can now completely surround them, and now they have no escapes, and it makes it a lot easier for you. And so that's something that we kind of see a lot when it comes to any sort of bruiser composition, any divers, brawlers that want to get into the thick of battle. The best way to stop them is a composition that can absorb that initial fight and then collapse afterwards.
Kwagashi as well, we've seen Phalanx banned in for every single game so far today. Do you think that's a streak that's going to continue, or do we finally get to see the many little dudes?
I want them to free my boys. I don't know if they ever will, but I wish they would.
It won't happen.
Magical, like, what do you think have been better bans maybe from some of these teams? We saw Yellow without Bingo, Leafeon ban both sides. We're a little bit confused by that, but for me personally, I think Blaziken has been really high value as a ban, right?
I think Blaziken, I actually kind of like the Hoopa ban because it does, like, change up a little bit of what you want to go for, but I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing Umbreon bans. If we start seeing teams and players just be like, we'd much rather deal with Trevenant and Slowbro than we would with Umbreon. The lockdown that you can get when you have something like me and Look, I mean, we have been seeing that there has been the flex where you can go for the foul play snarl. I'm more expecting the mean look wish kind of build, but it's still something that I'm expecting to start seeing more bans towards. I think more teams are starting to take away some of these evolutions, like even Sylveon. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some bans levied towards Sylveon. Even if I'm not as big on Sylveon as I am, say, Cramorant, I still think that we see how much damage just consistently that a Sylveon can deal throughout fights. That makes it really important to have them on the team.
And that feels kind of like a crucial role within a lot of squads. We saw Espeon previously, right, where it's just that consistent damage dealer. One thing that you can always count from us is consistency with our events. Heck, right now, if you're in Twitch chat, ! events, put it in, you'll get linked to, well, our link tree. You can sign up already for, well, all 3 of next week's event. I was going to say 4. There is the link to the main event over there, but you can't sign up for that. It's qualified only next Tuesday, of course, from 8 p.m. ET. We do have that NA qualifier. 7 p.m. CEST, we have got EU's qualifier. And then I think at 6 p.m. CEST, trying to figure out 1 p.m. 1 p.m. ET, we have got the last chance qualifier. That last chance qualifier open to both NA and EU. Head over to the link tree right now. Get the links over towards Community Gaming. Again, thank you for Community Gaming, hosting all our events, making sure that we can provide this to you as they provide us with a little bit of prize pool as well. Support the folks that support us, all that good stuff. Right now, I need predictions from both of you. Who do you think is going to take this? I'll throw it over and I'm going to flip it on its head. Magical, you first. Who do you think is going to take it?
I mean, just looking at how Yellow without Bingo are playing, like, if it's Yellow Bingo, obviously it'd be like automatic, gotta lock them in. But even with how they've been playing as Yellow without Bingo, they're still top tier. They're still the #1 team. They're still the team to beat. I think this is going to be a 2-0. There is a possibility that I think that A3 could possibly take a game, but I'm giving it to Yellow. I think that this is going to be them winning this series, winning it, and getting us a nice 2-0 victory.
Same question to you, Kogashi.
Yeah, from what we've seen, Yellow without Bingo has been doing pretty well. Very confident with their picks and very aggressive, you know? So the thing is, it's the question mark about A3 plus Snow. Are they good? Like, do they have something cooking too? Can I eat it? Those are the real questions. So I feel like those are what we're dealing with. We know what Yala without Bingo has, but A3 and Snow could have something in their bag, and they're just waiting to pull it out.
I've just heard in my ear that we've got a couple of technical issues, players just getting into the lobby, some need and restart the game. So what we're going to do, throw this to a break. On the opposite side, though, we'll be jumping straight into draft with Kogashi and Magical after this.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We have our first game of our grand finals. We have Yalla without Bingo as a face-off against A3 and Snow. Pretty typical stuff that we've seen so far from Yalla without Bingo. Just kind of picking whatever, banning whatever they want. Just kind of letting A3 and Snow kind of ban whatever they don't want to see. And the two evolutions, once again, the Sylveon and the Leafeon being the two bans coming out from Yalla without Bingo. Other side, once again, Phalanx and the Slowbro gonna be the picks.
I kind of was expecting the Umbreon to be banned instead of the Leafeon. Like Sylveon, I'm not too surprised by, but it's the Leafeon that I'm surprised they still hold strong to. It leaves open Blaziken. I'm expecting Umbreon to be picked up by A3 and Snow. Hoopa too, not too bad. I mean, I would then expect, not expecting that. Was expecting it to be the Umbreon Hoopa, and then on the other side, the Trevenant and something else, maybe the bird. But A3 and Snow, they're giving me my bird, aren't they?
Yeah, they're going to go ahead and take the Cramorant. Meanwhile, Yalla without Bingo just allowing the Blaziken to fall through the bans because they have first pick. Is going to give them something that we haven't seen all day today, which is a solid Blaziken pick. So we'll see if that is going to help them out against A3 and Snow.
Yeah, we're getting some very interesting adaptations here. The Espeon, something that has kind of been that replacement for Sylveon every now and then, getting let through. But then Garchomp and Crustle for A3 and Snow to kind of add in a lot of this dive potential that we have here for A3 and Snow. I really like the Cramorant Garchomp combination for that reason.
Yeah, and once again, the Garchomp kind of being the flavor of the month right now to pair up with this bird as well. So really solid picks. A Mimikyu going to be the last pickup for Utah here. Really interesting pickup, and we'll see what A3 and Snow want to answer back with as their final pick for this game number 1.
Going to be the Chandelure, so having more backline here. But this makes me really like that Mimikyu even more for Hutao. I love Mimikyu into either Cramorant or the Chandelure, something that can get on top of these fairly squishy members and get these knockouts really efficiently and then get out. The play with me being so imperative too. Getting resets from your Shadow Sneak. I really like this composition that Yalla without Bingo have drafted.
Yeah, this actually makes sense on paper. So I'm glad I'm gonna check that off. Make sure that is gonna be a step number 1. It makes sense. Good. Check.
Done.
A3 and Snow also once again really solid composition overall. So looking forward to seeing what they are gonna go ahead and pull off here.
Yeah, I think that the A3 and Snow composition is good. It just, I really like Yalla without Bingo's comp. The Mimikyu, I was talking before as someone who likes to play Mimikyu as well. Whenever I see a Cramorant on the other side, Mimikyu is my go-to. It's just a good Pokemon to kind of counter what Cramorant wants to do regardless of build path you opt to go for. But I do also like that there's still that dive you're hard committing for on A3 and Snow, that you can really get into the backline pretty efficiently and really try to see if you can put behind the Espeon, make it so that they're not really going to be that attacker that gets a lot of that easy, sure hits that they have in their kit.
Yeah, just making it as tough as possible for them, not giving them any space to work with. I feel like those are all important details that we will be keeping in mind throughout this match. But Yalla without Bingo versus A3 and Snow here in our grand finals. Let's go ahead and get this started.
Let us know in chat who you think is going to take this one, whether you're with us and are favoring that Yalla without Bingo, or if you think A3 and Snow have what it takes to pull out the upset here at the moment. Doing a lot of typical flourishes, even getting a top path already attacked there by Espeon, getting a lot of damage onto Hoopa. So already going to get control for Yalla without Bingo like we saw in the previous series.
So yeah, just playing with a faster tempo. You know the evolutions evolve at level 4. So getting those up as fast as possible and helping the Espeon kind of create this presence in the lane while you allow your Blaziken to get more of the experience from the central areas, helping them out quite a bit. So yeah, we'll see what they end up doing here as the first couple of birds spawn up here. Everybody here in time. Cramorant making themselves known here, just dealing a little bit of damage, but rotations are pretty standard.
Yeah, it seems like it was mostly secured by Yalla without Bingo. So get themselves in a good spot, even getting a nice crash in the bot lane, getting some early points here, seeing that there's 4 Pokemon on the top path, know that they can punish that, and now even rotate around. Mimikyu going for the play rough build, getting a lot of damage there onto Cramorant, already forcing the eject button out of there with a chase down from Marv. But with these level ups for A3 and Snow, it will mean that Yalla without Bingo are going to have to back out momentarily.
Yeah, they're just backing up for now, just playing, you know, once again, P's and Q's kind of gaming where everybody is just playing at their own tempo, getting whatever farm they need, and getting ready for those first objective spawns that are about in a minute. Looks like the scrap's actually going to start now.
Yeah, there you go. The Shadow Sneak reset from Mimikyu, already landing all this, and now these dunks to come through, making it real difficult. And this is why I love Mimikyu against things like Cramorant, like even that Chandelure. You're so good at following up and getting those KOs.
Yeah, the rest of A3 and Snow slowly rotating down here, getting ready for this bird spawn as well. But up at top, it's pretty split in terms of the numbers that we got going on here. Rotations coming out from the Hoopa to go ahead and send him home. But it looks like that's just going to be able to allow them to heal, just sending them straight into the pit again, as Yalla without Bingo was ready to collapse on that.
Yeah, they were ready. They just stood on top of the portal, said we're just going to wait for the fight to show back up on the top path, get the KO. Now they're the ones in control of both Reggies, but we already see that there is going to be a contest on the top Reggie. With a knockout onto Blaziken, it will be a trade. Nice pickup of the Regieleki by A3 and Snow that will get them this crash, forcing away the Eldegoss far from the point. And with all these points secured, they will crack this top path, I think just with one more. There it is, from the 30 points of Cramorant.
Yeah, they were trying to get it as close as possible before dunking that big one through, but being able to score, apply a little bit of pressure early is going to not only give Hoopa a little bit of space to play, but also give the team enough space to possibly go for a central area invade.
Yeah, so get a bit of a contest on the Arteria camps in the central path. They're just going to be a little bit taken away, but neither team now in a position to really contest. They're kind of waiting until there's something a little bit more important to fight over. Since the Reggies are gone, they could maybe contest some of these jungle camps if they want to, but both sides just playing a little bit more passively. I think waiting for all the Unite moves to be up for both teams, as they do get the crash back, pulling in Eldegoss, who has to eject button away.
Yeah, forcing the eject button out, but bringing him closer to the Blaziken, trying to go ahead and isolate out the Garchomp. They will get that now, taking their eyes over to that Cramorant, but forcing out the Gatling gun in order to create a little bit of space.
Create a little bit of space, a lot of low health bars here on A3 and Snow. As it will be both sides deciding to fall back after that little bit of skirmish, even though there are the KOs. There it is, Mimikyu finding the snipe in the back line. Still on the hunt a little bit, but because Garchomp was nearby, gonna scare away Mimikyu from any further battles, especially with 20 seconds left until the Reggies are up.
Yeah, just playing it safe, trying to get the positioning for these bottom Reggies, or the Reggies on the top and bottom lane here. So we'll be seeing how these teams are going to be playing it out as we get closer to the respawn for these Reggies.
Top Reggie started up by A3 and Snow. It looks like it is going to be a trade of top Reggie for bot Reggie. So with the Regieleki taken, Reggie Rock secured by Yalla without Bingo. We'll see if A3 and Snow can actually escort Regieleki all the way to the secondary point in top path.
Yeah, they're looking to kind of create some separation here with that Rock Tomb, but gonna go ahead and pick up the Garchomp. The rest of the team is already rotated through, so trying to go ahead and shred up the rest of that, but it's just giving them space to rotate down to bottom. It looks like that's gonna be the objective right now. Gecko Kami trying to get that 32 in on the Crustle. A Rubble Rouser gonna get popped, gonna go ahead and apply pressure, walking on through with the Gatling gun.
Nice.
Missile going through. Getting a couple more pickoffs. Psychic Solaire going to create a little bit of space as Yalla without Bingo trying to stabilize here as A3 and Snow continue to push forward.
Very close fight though. Both sides not really gaining that much of a priority over the other. Even can see how close it is with some of these Unite moves still not being popped beforehand. Going for the hoops unbound to get the KO onto Espeon. That could be what A3 and Snow needed here. Getting themselves the control of the bot path and looking to see if they can capitalize, but there is the knockout from Mimikyu onto Kramer on the other side, and he still has that flank angle. They go for the re-engage. They get the knockbacks everywhere they need to, taking the portal back to base, barely to survive, and it left Hoopa out to dry. Now only Crustle back into the middle of the fight, trying to defend the supporter, putting up the rock tomb. And even using the eject button away, but realizing they got to get another portal, but couldn't get there in time. Only Hoopa was able to. Now Hoopa's back in with Chandelure there to defend and make sure they get one knockout and trade for their Crustle.
Yeah, good trades overall. Just a lot of push from Yalla without Bingo, continuing those those hunt downs throughout this match. Utah trying to get that score. No, the Rock Tomb. They're just in time. Geku Kami going to go ahead and push them away, make sure that they can't continue on with their reign of terror.
And the
here in the top lane.
Help them pick up a couple more KOs. So A3 and Snow find themselves in a really good position. Now they've got themselves back on to the Regieleki. Another one for the squad. This one being so close to Rayquaza, they don't actually have to fully commit to getting it to crash in. As long as they can get enough attention from Yalla Bingo, that can allow them the inside track onto Rayquaza.
You see the Hoopa slowly sneaking his way down here, trying to create a little bit of space, possibly see what is going on, but the rest of A3 and Snow rotating down to bottom, while Yalla without Bingo has to deal with the Regieleki. Gonna still go towards Yalla without Bingo, gonna be able to get that defense buff. It's gonna be really helpful heading into the raid.
And with Regieleki already been taken right before Ray had spawned up onto the Sky Ruins, means that there is this opportunity now for Yalla without Bingo to actually contest this a little bit more reasonably.
Yeah, and they are slowly getting their numbers together, trying to figure out when they want to engage, who they want to engage on, just waiting for a lot of these Unite moves to get online before they go ahead and start the engagement. But X's are going to go ahead and push one away. We'll see if there's going to be even more action.
But all the while, there's a 2v1 that was able to get a knockout for Mimikyu on the other side. So now it's a 1-for-1 at the moment. Espeon for Garchomp. Neither side in full control, but now they have Blaziken with a back cap. That's going to be 100. That puts Yalla Bingo within the lead. And so now the fight is being forced. A3 and Snow, they have to have something go right now because everything is falling apart as they are the ones on the run. Yalla without Bingo get a double knockout out of Mimikyu. They're looking for the triple. Cressel couldn't take the portal out of there, but it's Garchomp on the hunt with a play rough doing so much to keep the distance away from Garchomp so they can get the knockout eventually. And Yalla without Bingo, it looked dicey for a moment, but the fight working out perfectly. Utah doing so much work, even with the hoops unbound, to try to steal it away. Yalla without Bingo get Rayquaza. They get the fight, and they will take game one.
Yeah, just really excellent micro play coming out from there. You have the Mimikyu literally isolating out the Garchomp to start, and separating out the team. And once they figure out, oh, we have a 4v5, we could take the fight, and they just forced the issue against A3 and Snow, who were outnumbered and pushed away in that entire fight. So really well done by Yalla without Bingo here.
I mean, there's a couple good plays right at the end, and this kind of shows that prominence in competitive play that we've seen from the members of Yalla without Bingo. It's the back cap that you get from the Blaziken to put them slightly ahead in points, but then the 2v1 fight where Mimikyu is able to get the knockout and then rejoin the rest of the team, that makes it so that there's no realistic way that A3 and Snow could actually stand up and take the Rayquaza. So they kind of found themselves just in this bad spot where they couldn't do anything right at that moment. There's no real way for them to contest the Rayquaza. They couldn't stop the back cap because they had to be at the Rayquaza. So they found themselves just at a horrible position on the map.
Yeah, it's caught between a green dragon and your base, and it looks like Yalla without Bingo was going to send you to one or the other. So they didn't really make it a choice. They were just like, go home. So really, really well played. Yalla without Bingo, once again, very aggressive team and playing kind of what they want and proving how competent they are with their comps. A3 and Snow did a really good job with just kind of keeping tempo for the most part. Contesting, taking away a lot of the Regielekis and pushing on with it, especially with the first one, creating a lot of space for them. But in the end, I feel like once again, Yalla without Bingo is just playing with a level of confidence and a level of speed that a lot of teams aren't ready for.
Yeah, and I think that's something that, I mean, we just look even competitively for like many different seasons with Yalla with Bingo and how the Yalla Bingo have been in the past. They have always been an aggressive team, so it's something that a lot of teams just struggle in how to really comprehend and how to deal with, because so many other compositions want to scale. They want to get later into the game. They want to really position themselves around the Rayquazas. But Yalla Bingo, and now Yalla without Bingo, never even give them that opportunity.
Yeah, just eat up the space, press W, and go forward. That's all they do. That I feel like that is the play heading in for Yalla without Bingo. They are definitely not Yalla without a W key. They are just marching forward like the Phalanx that's always banned.
Oh, let's see. Could be Sylveon, actually, A3 and Snow. Gonna ban that one themselves. So let's see. Blaziken the next one. Do we see a team actually leave open Phalanx? That is going to be the question. I have yet to see that in many, many, many weeks.
Yeah, we'll see what the final ban. It's the boys.
It's the boys. I was hoping maybe we
could get one.
Yeah, but nope. Not going to happen. Not for quite some time. And speaking of the boys, though, Slowbro will be picked up first by A3 and Snow.
Yeah, another empty head water type Pokemon just like me. Very, very good. Very good pickup. Very solid, especially with the recent buffs. Just giving it a little bit more power, a little bit more oomph. Was already a good enough Pokemon to start with, but really solidified itself in either this first pick or even banned spot here. So Hoopa coming out for Yalla without Bingo, and we'll see what the rest of A3 and Snow wants to draft here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it is that Eldegoss. The Mime is something that just surprises me that we see only picked up once in a while. I think that the zone control it provides for team is really nice for a lot of teams to try to go for. This is interesting adaptation by A3 and Snow. Picking up Mew. We've been seeing so much of the Cramorant here, but instead opting for Mew.
Yeah, Mew is, once again, it's one of the most versatile Pokemon in the game. It just comes down to what you want to do with it. Gives them that Surf option if they really want to. Surf, Electro Ball, and Solar Beam, still really solid pickup options, and the speed is helpful. So we'll see what the final two picks are. This is starting to look a little interesting with a Comfey, possibly with a Dodrio or a Zoroark. Okay. Okay.
All right, so this is an interesting one. I was kind of hoping for the Dodrio, talking about bird brains there, but I think Zoroark is a really good answer to something like a Hoopa or even like an Espeon, now Glaceon, something that can get into this backline really efficiently on their own and get out pretty easily too. And I'm really looking at A3 and Snow. I'm really looking at the Zoroark and how they are going to attack this backline. How are they going to really try to get ahead of the curve when dealing with the triple evolutions on the other side?
Yeah, it's just a lot of speed coming out from A3 and Snow. Once again, this looks like a team that wants to go fast with the Zoroark and Comfey comp, but give them pretty much just to create enough space for the late game for Potato and Snow to kind of do what they do best. Meanwhile, Yellow without Bingo playing at the level 4 game, and then you have Buzzwole that doesn't even need to evolve. He's just a big bug that punches you in the face. So yeah, it's a lot to keep in mind, and yeah, we'll be seeing if this is going to help them out heading into this grand finals game number 2 here.
It's the grand finals game 2, and A3 and Snow, their backs are up against the wall. They got to win this one, get us to game 3 if they want a shot at the prize. Well, y'all without Bingo, they're looking confident. They've got a composition that has been drafted in a fashion that we have been seeing very much from them every single time. Play early, play aggressively, level 4 spikes. They're looking for that power shift.
Yeah, and I'm assuming we're going to see probably a split in the central area so that the level 4s get online faster. And yeah, Yalla without Bingo would be looking to speed things up. A3 and Snow trying to kind of weather the storm, or put all their eggs in one Zoroark-shaped basket.
And there's a lot of EVs on the bottom side. Just look at all those EVs. As we do actually get an invade here. It was a nice attempt there from Eternal, trying to get away some of these camps, but unfortunately just not able to get that much while Juror is able to secure them, especially with the comfy on top of him. Already using that eject button away just to stay safe as best possible. But I do like this from Yellow Without Bingo, trying to cause a lot of chaos here in the jungle path to make it a little bit more difficult for this Aurora to get these early levels.
Oh, we don't know if Zoro is not here. Might have DC'd a little bit. Yeah.
Kind of looked like that.
It happens sometimes.
Yeah, kind of looked like that for a second. It looked fine for a minute, then all of a sudden was standing still for a sec. So hopefully we'll be able to get this figured out momentarily. But looking at the compositions, I'm still expecting to see Yellow Without Bingo play very aggressively, very early. So my question now to you is, why aren't you in the game?
I'm too big.
There's a Snorlax. There's a Snorlax. I don't know if I believe that reasoning.
I would be too strong. I don't know what kit would they give me that would be unique to Unite. You think I'm a Tom Kench style where I just go brah?
Yeah,
and just eat people
think so.
and then just blah, give them that. Huck.
Yeah, actually, I wouldn't mind that. I think that would be a pretty accurate one. I'm trying to think what else. Maybe like a little bit like amnesia kit in there, get something like that.
I forget stuff all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that we could make this work.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past us to like have like a pool of like mud that I just like sink into and just like.
Well, it depends too. If you're a little bit more toxic, you can become Qualifier, right?
Yeah. You gotta go with the lowland or the why can't I think?
It's okay.
Is it? Yeah. The Clodsire's got more pull. He's got a little bit of back spikes that are cool.
As I'm saying, a little bit more toxic. And speaking of that, we go into the spot path, and we already see a double knockout there from Mew. They're continuing this dive, forcing out the eject button.
Yeah, forcing the plays, and this is what we were saying. Like, if Zoroark gets a little out of hand, it might get a lot out of hand. So we'll be keeping an eye out for that, seeing how aggressive they get with some of the pickoffs and who they're going to be targeting in these fights.
As we saw a lot of eject buttons used to try to get away from the initial fight that we had there. As a little bit more poke onto the Zoroark. But up top path, we have the 1v1s. That actually could be pretty big here, as having this Buzzwole easily able to defeat this Matang, get those knockouts, which is going to force the Zoroark into the top path to try to look for the knockout with the Comfey, but it's already gotten back towards the point to get the shield.
Yeah, just trying to create a little bit of space for the team, be a nuisance, and create a little bit of space. And here they go, even more aggressive dives. Dog, though, dropping dangerously low. They don't know if there's enough flowers to go ahead and keep them up. You see the dash through, but going to be able to dash out, keep them alive this time. And yeah, this is really interesting, the kind of dynamics that we're having here.
Tato just going for the dunk, realizing there's not much you could do there, not up against a Buzzwole. And so getting knocked out, but this is still looking good for A3 and Snow. The fact that Zoroark is all over the map and looking for more fights, keeping that Comfey on their head, so there's so little that can be done, so much healing you get for the Zoroark as you consistently are diving over and over again.
Yeah, just getting some space, creating space for the team, and that's exactly what you need to do. You need to give Matang a little bit more space, even though Buzzwole's kind of, doing their own thing up there. Meanwhile, the rest of the team, once again, Yellow Without Bingo, A3 and Snow just applying a ton of pressure, making it so tough for them.
And that was stolen away by the Slow Bro. The Registeel going over to A3 and Snow and giving those resistances up into the top path allows the Matang to win the 1v1 duel.
Yeah, Potato once again backing out, still trying to get to the Metagross. So tough to play into that into the Buzzwole once again. It's just not a favorable matchup. But overall, A3 and Snow keeping the pressure up with the Zoroark for now. We'll see if Yellow Without Bingo can find an answer here.
Well, I don't know if they have one unless they can get this knockout on to Zorark, who didn't have the Comfey. It will be the trade of 1-for-1, which is going to be a little bit nice for Yellow without Bingo. They're moving up towards the Regieleki, but there's already been the zone controlled and crushed there by Potato, who's gotten to Metagross status and has that damage. The portal's been taken away, but they know where they're going to go. They can follow this one up. No, they decide not to go back into the portal, giving the control of Regieleki over to A3 and Snow.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair trade. You don't want to give them too much here. It's fine if you can play the defense on the Regieleki, but yeah, overall it was really scary. Really good teleport coming out from the Hoopa to make sure that the team is able to disengage out of that fight. But when it came down to like the initial start, it is really tough to push into this.
Oh, Potato might have gone a little bit too aggressive trying to secure the crash in from Regieleki. Allows the KO to go over to Espeon. And the portal's been opened up into the bot path so they can start following this up if they want to, but they are a little bit late to the party. Getting the damage on Zorark, who already has Comfey, so they get the knockout onto Mew instead. Waiting to see if they have enough on Zorark, but look at the heals you get with the Comfey on your head! And Umbreon can't do enough with the play rough or with the foul play, and they've got him locked down. The follow-up too for another knockout of Zorark.
Yeah, and that is the pressure that Zoroark gives you. You have so much speed, so much damage, plus sustainability by having the Comfey as your last pick, that the rest of the team wasn't ready to deal with something like this. So really good pickup overall from Yala, just in order to just keep the pressure up.
And that's what they've been doing right now for A3 and Snow, just keeping that pressure, constantly utilizing the Zorark, who's now level 12. It is answered in kind by the Glaceon, and the game is still close. We were expecting to see more of the action early from the side of Yellow without Bingo, but A3 and Snow kind of matched them in that and said we can play just as aggressively, constantly look for these plays, but right there, it was a nice pick on a slow bro, a little bit overextended. But it's always the Zorark with the Comfey on their head that you got to be careful, who consistently dives into the back line. And they have to be careful. They have been taken low while Metagross had gotten themselves a knockout onto one. But Zorark is out of there, and they've got the punch into the air from Buzzwole to lock down the Metagross, but it doesn't stop anything because Metagross now have taken over the game for the Zorark. They've got the portals back in, but it's all trying to delay the inevitable because now it is the time of Potato.
Yeah, A3 and Snow gave Potato just enough space to be effective now. So this is really scary for Yala without Bingo. You know, we were saying that they have that level 4 early like spike, but later in the game, it's really tough to deal some of this damage. It's such a sturdy Pokemon like Metagross, but also a very elusive Pokemon like Zoroark. So they may be able to fight a couple of pickoffs here and there. And try to stabilize here a minute before the final stretch, but it's going to be really tough when you have to deal with both of them at the same time.
Exactly, because once you have the full fights, the 5v5 fights, and you have to decide who do you really want to deal with, Zorark or Metagross. You can only deal with one of them at a time. That means the other one is left untouched and doing so much work for the team. That is going to be hard for Yala without Bingo in these upcoming fights, especially because we are getting the last of the Reggies spawning here onto the Thea Sky Runes.
Yeah, Yala's going to go ahead and grab the Regieleki, but meanwhile, A3 and Snow grabbing the Regirock. So a little bit of a defense buff heading into this final stretch.
And it will be the Regieleki denied there by Potato. But actually going to let the collapse go in just because they realize 5 seconds left until Rayquaza is up.
Yeah, and you see them trying to sneak around. They did get spotted out just a little bit, but it depends on if they have enough time. They do. They're going to try to sneak this in. The 50 going to be the overcap to start.
Huge points there. Gives the lead to Yellow without Bingo, which means now you have to go for the fight. You got to get this pick on Buzzwole. Tries to get towards the portal. Might be able to take the TP out. Will heal up, but now it is on to A3 and Snow. You've got to do something before Buzzwole can rejoin the team, because once the 5 are there, that's when it's going to be the final commitment, the final stretch, and your backs are up against the wall. It's the grand finals. You got to have this fight go perfectly, and you are at 1.5 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, A3 and Snow need to make a play pretty soon, but since that score, and this is play,
They looked for it in the back line. They got a lot of damage with the Zoroark with the gunfight, but they've taken the portal out of there. They're going to survive. They get the jet buttons away, but they've all re-engaged. All back to full health. Try to get the surf, to get the stun, get the roots that they need to get the knockout onto Hoopa, but they're knocking him up into the air. It's going to be traded back. Zoroark's out, but now Metagross is going to be the real target into the back line. Double knockout they've gotten for themselves while they continue to chase away the Glaceon and got rid of him. Yellow without Bingo or without a hope here as Rayquaza is up, and there's enough time for A3 and Snow to win this game.
Yeah, A3 and Snow are just trying to look for the damage. That is the biggest question right now. As Yellow without Bingo trying to regroup right now. Marv.
No way.
Trying to sustain so much damage. Not going to be enough to go ahead and get that last hit taken out. But yeah, A3 and Snow just needed to take the fight to them. Did exactly that. And created enough space for them to win the match.
Yeah, they're going to get these points. They will win this match, and they will take us to a Game 3 in our grand finals. What a play there from A3 and Snow right at the end, utilizing the double threat, getting the points up against Yellow without Bingo, and making this grand finals a close one.
As we see time expire here, I do have to give it up for the drafting of A3 and Snow. Once again, you see the overall composition. They're like, okay, Yellow without Bingo wants to play kind of this early game pressure. If we just do a Zoro Luca build, it will give them enough speed to mess with them the entire time. So they might not be able to get their level spikes up as high as possible, but once A3 and Snow were ready to go, they were just in control of the match for the most part.
And now we have a Game 3 as we get ready for that deciding match. The very last one here of our grand finals to find out who is going to be our winners of this EU qualifiers. We are going to toss it to a break. We'll be right back for our final game between Yellow without Bingo and A3 and Snow. Hello, hello. Welcome back into the Unite Battle Hub. I'm here with... I want to make sure I get your name right. Gashi?
Quagashi.
Quagashi?
It's like Quagsire and the Ashi part of this guy. Quagashi. Right. Like Quagsire and Kanashi put together. Quagashi. Cute. I'll spell it. Hold on.
I'm just messing with you. Gugashi's actually gonna spell it for us. Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know that Quagsires could actually spell. I'm more impressed by that, I think.
Oh. Not well.
Okay. I was about to say, I'm more impressed by the fact that a Quagsire could actually spell in the first place. Quagashi, I guess, is a little bit different because Quagashi can also talk. So that is also something that we have going on in this one. But also what we have going on in this one as Quagashi is writing their name. Let's see. Wait, where is it? Oh, there it is. All right. It was a beautiful attempt there. It was a beautiful attempt. But I do like that, and I do like the fact that we are getting into a Game 3 in our grand finals. Oh, there it is. Okay, I'm imagining Kanashi actually wrote that one. Because that one's actually well written.
He has thumbs. So, yeah.
But yes, we are getting into Game 3 here, and we have seen definitely some adaptations. One of which I am sad is that we have seen the bird kind of fall to the wayside. Not so much seen in our pick bans, but something that we have seen every single game has been the Phalanx ban, and you and I both have been hoping that it somehow will make its way through. Do you think in this Game 3 it possibly could?
It depends on if Yala without Bingo wants to let it go. But for the most part, I feel like teams just don't want to deal with it, which makes sense. And yeah, it does open up the doors for a lot of different picks, though.
It does. I mean, I'm still looking at that Umbreon that was being hovered there momentarily. I think Umbreon... Okay, we don't have EX Pokemon enabled. That one's just more of, I think, essentially a non-ban. But Umbreon is kind of the one I was saying, they're both just going for non... Phalanx is open!
Yeah?
Oh, come on. The boys. It's time for the boys.
There's so many options now that 2 EX Pokemon are off the table. The Pikachu first pick? What is going on? Oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
The teams were on the wrong side. Some people were swapping around and doing weird stuff. So, yeah, they got our hopes up for no reason. We're gonna see if we're gonna get any.
I'm just gonna open up a Pokemon pack to make myself happy. It's one of the Halloween sets. Yeah.
I have some too, but I can't open it. I got no thumbs.
Yeah, like, you don't have thumbs, so I'll open up for us instead. It's just it's the Halloween set from a few years ago, so it's nothing super spicy. Let's see, we got a Gengar. Nice.
Pong.
Oh, there's a Pikachu. And a Poltegeist. Not bad.
Poltegeist.
Not bad.
Lives in the pot.
Mm-hmm.
I live in the pond. Same thing, almost.
Almost close. That is closer. I like this one though. All right, should I open a different Pokemon pack? Should we do Stream Luck while we wait for the teams to get on the right side?
Yeah, we could do that. I'm gonna see if I can grab some friends.
Okay, you grab some friends, and I'm gonna open up some Pokemon cards for everybody because I just want to see how long it takes them to get in. So here we go. Here we go. What do we got here? We got Electabuzz. Ooh, nice. Not bad. We got a Coughing. Remember, this is 151, so it's going to be all the originals. Tangela. Grimer. Actually, I like that Grimer art. That's cute. Ooh, a nice Arcanine.
God, it's so far away.
Tentacruel. Here's our reverse holo. Start off with the Sandshrew. And a Magneton. And then... Articuno. Okay, so nothing super fancy in this one. Oh, actually, we got a holographic energy. But does it have a swirl? It does have a swirl. The swirl on this side. Right here. Nice. Not bad. Not bad.
As I said, fix my headset, please.
There you go. You getting your headset
Okay.
fixed up?
Yeah.
Did you find your friends?
Yes, I brought friends.
Okay, what friends did you bring?
Hey, go on out. Ah!
Oh,
God.
Kibble.
Yeah, he's been picked quite a bit. So
Yeah, he has. How do
good
you feel?
friend.
How do you feel being picked a bunch?
Nice.
Nice. Okay, here we go. Now we are on to our draft here. Now, enough of us filling. We can actually talk about the games here. We get Leafeon being banned away. I'm imagining the first 2 bans were legit, the Leafeon and Slowbro. But we'll see what happens after that, because that's where things can really get spicy, I think. Actually, it's going to be Mimikyu. That is going to be the first ban here by A3 and Snow.
Yeah, just giving him a little bit more space. We'll see with Yalla without Bingo actually banning normally.
Come on, leave it open. Leave open. They did it. It's legit. The boys are back on Sky Ruins. Come on. Give us the boys.
They gotta pick it up. They gotta give the fans what they want.
Give the fans what they want. We're the boys. Lock in the boys, and then we're expecting Venusaur on the other side. No, they went for Blaziken. Oh, and you could tell that A3 and Snow were ready for the Phalanx to be first picked here. Because they
they hovered it.
They had the Venusaur ready. Yeah, of course they're going to take it. It's like, but Blaziken, it's probably going to be the Sylveon Phalanx here. And then I would imagine it's going to be Venusaur on the other side.
Yeah. It should be the Venusaur, but we'll see what they want to go with. If they want to make something a little bit more stable, since Hoopa is still available, and
yeah, I mean, I guess they don't have to, because Sylveon has been picked. So it's like, there's not really any reason to take Venusaur here if you are A3 and Snow. So they can go for the things that are a little bit stronger in the meta, such as the Trevenant, such as Hoopa, and say to A3 and Snow, you can take Venusaur here if you want. It really wouldn't fit with your composition. So that's why they're kind of going and seeing what else do they have available for themselves. Comfey, could be another Comfey, Zoroark as a final pick if they want to, with the Snorlax getting locked in here.
Yeah, they're kind of threatening both ways. You know, Yalla without Bingo can select the Venusaur with the last pick just because it's not a final pickup, but they could also try to play Deny if they want to. But it could actually fit their comp if they decided to go with it. But looking for something a little bit more stable, might pick up this Espeon right now. There you go. Gives them a little bit of space. Now, the last pick can be the Zoro, which, there you go. It was either the Zoro, the Dodrio, something to help them with the Comfey, whatever they wanted to pair with it. But yeah, we get to see the Phalanx finally comes out after, I guess, a good handshake.
It's a very interesting kind of change up here from our teams. That the fact that we see that Phalanx finally gets through, but not actually first pick. The Blaziken opted for more by Yellow without Bingo. And looking at that Zoroark Comfey composition like we saw last time, I feel like Phalanx does a very similar thing to what Metagross had done in the previous game for A3 and Snow. So it feels like they've just gone back to what worked last time. Have the double threat in these team fights where you're either focusing on Zoroark or you're focusing on Phalanx.
Yeah, it just forces them to, once again, worry about 2 different threat angles. They have to deal with 6 small balls just running around, or you got to deal with 1 really fast fox with a flower lay. So yeah, it's a lot to deal with. I mean, I could barely even remember what I had for breakfast, let alone 2 Pokemon that are destroying my team at the same time.
What did you have for breakfast?
I don't eat. I'm a puppet.
Touche. All right, but you know what? We're about to eat good here on to the Thea Sky Ruins, because it is Game 3 of the Grand Finals here at Unite Battle Hub between Yellow without Bingo and A3 and Snow. And this one should be a good one. We've got a change up in the meta. We got Phalanx finally allowed onto the Sky Ruins, and we will see which team comes out on top.
Yeah, both teams just trying to play their tempo. You know, once again, you have to get the Zorua up into Zoroark, but once again, Eternal trying to be the nuisance that he is, not only get a little bit of chip damage, but also potentially take some of this farm away. Looks like they're trying to pin him against the wall, forcing him out the other way.
Look at this. We already have a double invade because Espeon's here as well. So now they're both attacking, putting out the smoke screen to get a little bit of a slow. But it's actually Espeon who's in a bad spot. Had the eject button away with level 5. The evolve now to Zoroark, meaning they can go for the dash and pick up that first knockout.
Wow. They tried to create a little bit of space and may have cost them quite a bit.
Oh, it cost them a lot right there because now you have the crash downs. You get all these points picked up. One of them being for the Phalanx, the other being for this Zoroark, who's now level 6 already into the game. This is where you can have this snowball for A3 and Snow really be devastating.
Yeah, and this is the one thing that we were saying. It's like, yeah, Yala without Bingo was known for playing this fast tempo, but now A3 and Snow kind of hitting him with a 1-2 punch of just a Zoroark, and the Phalanx just kind of playing at a separate and safe distance. So yeah, the speed is insane coming out from A3 and Snow right now.
And a lot of this was from Yala without Bingo trying to deny this combination getting to this point, this exact terminus that we are now seeing, the level 7 Zoroark moving around the map, invading, getting these points collected for the team, securing full control and full knowledge of the central path.
Yeah, and they're just gonna have to play around it once again, trying to figure out a way how to even out the levels, possibly get a KO or two. It's going to be really tough to do that heading into this first basement Reggie with possibly the Unite move online for A3 and Snow.
Another KO here by A3 and Snow. Full control of the bottom path, and with only 2 here to try to defend. Another crash down. They actually destroy the point of bot path.
Possibly Unite move a little early here to try to get a little bit of speed and to get out, but just scoring in the 2, possibly dipping out, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Hop over the wall, make it tough for the chase for Yala without Bingo, as A3 and Snow looking to just kind of keep their foot on the gas here.
Yeah, and Yala without Bingo, hoping to find some other play that can kind of bounce it back into the game. It looks like that Reggie Lucky was their answer, but they have to be careful because look at that damage that Zoroark was able to get, and you are now 2 levels behind as the Blaze get the kick, not helping out at all. It was a secure on Reggie Lucky, then Reggie Rock as well in the bot path. Everything is going perfectly for A3 and Snow.
Yeah, and they're looking to possibly overcap here, trying to get a couple more points on that Phalanx before they go ahead and dunk this 50 in. Trying to see if they could catch out anybody before they go ahead and do it. And that's when the break is going to happen, just to prevent any of the rotations from coming through. So really well done by A3 and Snow. Once again, like playing at a different tempo, like especially in this early game, is helping them out. It's just going to be a matter of if Yala without Bingo can get some bounce back experience to go their way.
Especially when you're this far behind. Level 11 Zoroark, level 10 Phalanx. You haven't even had a single player crest that double digits yet in level. So this is rough. This is really rough for Yala without Bingo at the moment.
Yeah, it's just tough to catch up after such speed, and we saw such speed with A3 and Snow and how well they've been playing, especially when they get their hands on the Zoroark plus the comp. So it's been helping them out quite a bit. Yes,
it has. It's really been something that I think that we'll start seeing a little bit more of, something that can attack earlier on into the game, that can get to these crucial level spikes, and then once you get to the Unites, especially with the Comfey, like there's a reason why I was saying I was surprised we weren't seeing as much Comfey going into today. Because this is what it enables. This is what it allows. It allows these accelerated games that you get a couple early knockouts, especially under your speedsters, and now all of a sudden there's no real way that you're catching up. They are too fast and too furious for you.
Exactly, and I just think that it came down to speed and plus what was banned. Like you, like me. Yeah. You could go home. You could. No.
No, come back. They're on the bench. This is actually a perfect time to interview them. Let's get some opinions.
Oh, yeah, come up. They want to ask questions.
Yeah. So why do you think that so many teams have been putting so much priority onto you as a Pokemon in Unite?
They buffed me a little bit, and then nobody likes to play with me.
Oh, I see. Well, right now we're not going to play with you either because you got to go away. You're on the bench as we got a double knockouts there
Back
from
into the
Blaziken. Yeah, back into the pond with you. And that's nice from Yellow without Bingo, kind of capitalizing on those egregious and aggressive invades. But Phalanx with the Dust Devils formation almost was able to get the KOs in return. But this is that continuing pressure, the overcommitment by A3 and Snow.
Yeah, and this is what we were saying. Like, Yellow without Bingo really needed to capitalize on this. And that was the play. They needed to find an opening. They needed to find a good pickoff to resettle and rebalance out some of the experience here. And that was the play.
Yeah, so they get themselves in a good spot. They have a lot of Eos energy that is yet to actually be capitalized on. So at the moment, not going to be in a position that feels too comfortable. But as long as they can be in a good spot to contest around these Reggies, Regieleki in the top path, get the Reggie in the bot path that will be spawning soon. But wow, another knockout. This time it was solo knockout by Phalanx. This is kind of why we're talking about the troubles that Yellow without Bingo are going to have. If they're not grouped up together, how are they going to deal with either the Phalanx or the Zoroark?
Yeah, it's just so much pressure, and Yellow without Bingo gonna hoops unbound, bring the team in, just try to secure that down. But once again, A3 and Snow just playing at a different tempo. They are breaking goals, they're applying pressure where they need to, and just eating up as much experience off of the map as possible.
That way you have a level 13 Zoroark, a level 12 Phalanx. Everyone else double digits now for both sides, but really the Speedster is going to be the ones that you have to keep your eyes on, especially because Espeon only level 10, Mew 11. Prime real estate for Zoroark to attack, but we do see that almost that overcommitment again from A3 and Snow, getting themselves in a bad spot.
Yeah, just trying to figure out what they can get away with, A3 and Snow. Just trying to push on through, forcing out a bunch of the Unite moves right now, but trying to get a couple of knockouts going their way. A3 and Snow trying to bring down that Trevenant, but may have bit off a little bit more than they could chew if they can't back out. And they're going to lose the Zoroark here for a couple of seconds, and it may look like the Snorlax might be next if they don't happen to back out, get a little bit of HP going their way. Heavy Slam coming in, but the rest of Yellow without Bingo starting to get aggressive here.
Very Pranch trying to get a little bit of damage, keeping a little bit of the attention onto them. That's the Dust Devil formation there. This Phalanx doing so much work for the team, but Blaziken survived for a long time and was able to take the portal back out, get back towards the rest of the team, get back for the knockout onto Phalanx as well.
Yeah, just aggressive play coming out from Yellow without Bingo, realizing if we group up as 5 and we try to take these fights as 5, we might be able to find a good pick here, and they need it now, especially right before the final stretch. Trying to even out some of these levels, it's going to be really helpful for them.
As we see the dashing around that Zoroark can do, they got the charms, they got a lot of dashes away from the Fire Chicken. The kick didn't connect onto anybody so they can get the knockout onto them, but it's a trade. The Snorlax now making sure they get 2 more on top of it. No longer a trade. 3 knocked out, only the 1. The Reggie's are going to be secured by Potato, at least in the bot path, and then maybe they can turn for the Rayquaza that's going to be spawning here right as they get more knockouts for this overly aggressive Zoroark.
Yeah, and the main pickoff there was the Hoopa, so Hoops Unbound isn't a thing that they have to worry about. They're just trying to remove any option to get into this pit as quickly as possible. They're going to isolate out the Blaziken, and that's going to get taken out quickly. Same thing with the Mew, so just it's going to be tough for Yellow without Bingo to really commit to a fight when they can't even get in there.
If we look at the Unite moves that are there, there is only going to be 2 that will be utilized. Oh, but not a way to get into the pit quickly enough means that Yellow without Bingo lose out on the Rayquaza, and they're already in a bad spot. And with all these dunks, all these caps that you're getting for A3 and Snow, they will be your champions here. They will be the ones taking the title, upsetting Yellow without Bingo and expectations. Everyone, including myself, was looking at Yellow without Bingo as being unstoppable. But A3 and Snow, they bust out the Zoroark, they get the Phalanx in Game 3, and they show that they are a team that is worth considering.
Yeah, they're going to go ahead and punch their tickets to the finals here for our Elite Tour for today. But that doesn't mean that we won't keep an eye out for Yalla Without Bingo. There's still another EU qualifier in a week that we have to keep an eye out for. So lots of teams still competing, still playing out here. And A3 and Snow is just going to be our victor today. Really well played, like different pacing than the other team, and just getting what they need at the right time. Even being harassed at times, especially in the central area early, just staying calm under pressure.
And looking really good. A lot of that's got to be a big shout out to Dog, though, on this Zora arc and how they're able to play with that. Having the Comfey composition, the two in tandem working really well. They get to this point where they just are uncontestable. And then when you think that you can start focusing on Dog, though, then you realize that Potato is a threat. The Metagross before, and now the Phalanx in this game to allow them to pick up this win in the Grand Finals in that 2-1 fashion.
Yeah, just another good one for the books. If you guys are looking for like prime gameplay of how you can use Comfey and Speedsters in order to create tempo, this is a really good example of that. You know, A3 and Snow pretty much used the Zoroark to create space for the Phalanx to kind of do what they do best. So just having a lot of space to kind of work with, Potato, you know, doing what they do best. Getting up in the levels might not have been, you know, the most impactful because you got Dog, though, and Luca just running around and causing havoc on the map. But being ready for that final fight, being like at a solid level and ready to go, really did solidify and punch that ticket at the very end of the game.
Mm-hmm. And well done to A3 and Snow to pick up this win, getting this 2-1 victory for our EU qualifiers in our Elite Tour. Like you said, that just because you lose in this one does not mean that you are out. We do have another EU qualifiers that will be coming up next week as we get ready and get gearing towards our actual finals and towards the moments that really are going to matter. But I feel like that's going to be it for us here today. We had a fun day of EU qualifiers. Like we said, we have more, and we have more Pokemon Unite that will be coming this weekend. So before we go anywhere, Quagashi?
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know. I still think that it should be like, it needs to be something that is like gets you as a personality, you know? Like, like one of the 7 dwarves, like Dopey. I'm just messing with you, Quagashi. It's good having you here, and Kanashi, it was good casting with you as well. Bacon, thank you for joining us today, and thank you everybody for joining us here at Unite for our Battle Hub and our Elite Tour. We will see you this weekend. We will see you later for more Pokemon Unite, so make sure you stay tuned.